Yeah, we find her, the beautiful girl we've been missing. We wanna have her kissing. We find her, now we in love. So go so the remix.
DMB, Tux Bites, remix.
Now if I had to lose you like a bad phone connection, I'd change my game to get a better reception. Sit back, let's start this interaction. Don't fight the feelings, just a chain reaction. Your heart won't give it the wrong instructions. Like my GPS, yes I got the right direction. We gotta merge together like a road intersection. Last stop is gonna be my love and affection. I ain't like them other dudes, they wanna call you shorty, but I'ma call you a beautiful girl. I took your picture home, my mama saw it, she's a very, very beautiful girl. I wanna put you in my video, cause you're so beautiful. You're a beautiful girl. So when you hear us in your radio, turn up your stereo. It's beautiful girl.
Gotta find a shorty, what's worth of a lady. It's nice but maybe doesn't look like 40, yeah. It's taking a little time. I wasn't seeing no signs, any traces of my baby. Who's gonna be my baby? But I thought I'm gonna take my time, but then it took a long fine eye. I saw a shorty passing by. She's got this very pretty smile. It was right at the bus station. I tried to make a conversation, holding her arms, feeling so charmed. I felt the sensation. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Now I realize I found me a beauty, beautiful girl. She's a model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it by beautiful girl. Sparkling eyes are killing tight. I found me a beautiful girl.
My wish came true when I saw you, girl. God must have blessed me with your beauty, girl. Looking so right from your head to your toe. Shaped like a Coke bottle with a smile of a queen. My queen to be, you my destiny. Got a body of a goddess with your beauty. I'm impressed and I'm never in distress. Come on over and be mine. Been searching for a man and now all the cats keep looking to mine. With a sexy walk and a sexy talk, she must be from a planet called the sexy world. I know I ain't tripping, better yet I'm thinking put a ring on the finger, we look good together. Take your place in my heart with your beauty. I'ma say that I'll never turn away. Who would think I'm in love?
Such the way she smiles at me just really makes me weak. The way she speaks to me just really make me go so weak. Keep staring in her eyebrows. All I kept on saying is wow. Your beauty shines and breeze at night. All I really want in my life. Oh yeah. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine brown eyes. I found me a beauty, beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it. Beautiful girl, sparkling eyes, killing tight. I found me a beautiful girl. Yeah, beautiful girl, beautiful girl. Yeah. Beautiful girl.
Damn. Money. You seen her? Hot Ice. Have you seen her? LP. Have you seen her? I'ma go over to Tux Bites. I know you've probably seen her. He has a lot of beautiful girls with him. Tux, it's DMB, baby. Look.
Beautiful.
I look for a while, but I can't seem to find a beautiful girl so I can make her mine. Time after time, I've been searching for a while, but every girl I meet never seems worthwhile. What can I do? I pray to God for an answer. I feel pains in my heart like cancer, and when I find her, I'm gonna romance her. Lace several presents and gifts. Call me Santa Claus. I make a heartbeat pause. That's my girl, homeboy.
boy, not yours. The girl of my dreams, she's more than I ever thought. Show me Aston Kutcher, I think I'm getting punked. She's what I really want, so I'm a go-getter. Since I'm a go-getter, you know I'm gon' get her. And I will give her the world, anything for my beautiful girl.
Psych. Ooh, it's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine, brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, oh, she's so fine. I just wanna take it, beautiful girl. Sparkling eyes, killing time. I found a beautiful girl.
Girl, it's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.
Ladies and gentlemen of Prestige, welcome. How on a day? This is Ola coming to you live from my Empire Pro Studios. Today I have a little bit of voice issues, so pardon me. I might take a little haul, some warm water here. You know, if you can hear me loud and clear, please do let me know. Just say loud and clear in the chat. Welcome. How are you all doing? We are to continue the conversation today. Welcome back. Okay, this is gonna be kind of like the second part in this Halima versus Mr. Johnson series. Welcome back. How's everyone doing? Let me just look at the chat. Can you guys hear me clearly? And do let me know if the background music. I want to keep the background music on, but I don't want it to be distracting you. If it's too high, let me know. I'm looking at the chat right now. Awesome. Good. Ola Olatunji. Shout out to you. I saw this particular chat 15 minutes before we actually started the stream. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate you. Hi, we did wait. Oh, hello family. Good to see you. Yvette, good to see you, Yvette. Yvette says, Hola, hello, I'm here learning and agreeing with so much of your take on things. Best to your family. Thank you, I appreciate you. I need some smoke. If you ever disagree with anything, please do let me know. That's how we grow. Thank you so much. I do have my fair share of disagreements on maybe other platforms and stuff like that. This is how I come up with a lot of stuff. But if you have smoke here, please feel free to share. Okay. I have D-Love. Good to see you. Of course, she started dancing before everybody else. Good to see you. Good evening, MOP and family. Mrs. Downsey, or Miss Downsey, I should say. I'm not sure, but good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Hit that like button, I beg. I can't talk with the thing in my mouth. Excuse me. I'm just gonna have to leave it on the side. I'll drink water. Excuse me, sorry. I'll manage the voice. Chinye, good to see you, Chinye. Chinye, my G, good to see you, Chinye. Hit that like button as you're coming in. All right. I also see my Obodo fam in the house. This is all Obodo fam. You know, Obodo fam, Prestige fam, all of the above. Good to see you. Loud and clear. Good. All right, so you can hear me. It's too high. Okay, so let me turn it down a little bit. Because I want to make sure that you guys can hear me loud and clear. All right, let me know right now. It's still on, but you know, I think it should be better. Maybe like right about here. Yep. All right. I like the background music. You can keep it on. Chinye said we should keep it on. It wasn't too high. Is it too high or wasn't too high? If it's too low, it will mess up our sound. Just so you know, it needs to be at a certain level. Okay. Grace Kitchen. Hello, Prestige family. Good to see you, Grace Kitchen. Good to see you. Hit that like button. Thank you. Uh 14 watching, 7 thumbs up. Let's get the thumbs up. Thank you. Let's get the thumbs up. People are probably gonna get this story is so huge. People are gonna get tired of it very quickly, as usual. But we don't care. It's not about, outside of people clicking on it and coming in here. We're here to learn, okay, and we're here to extract all the lessons out of it. We try not to shame or blame anybody, or victim shame or victim blame, whatever they want to call it out there. We try not to do that. But we're not going to do that at the expense of not extracting the lessons. Okay? So if you're too sensitive to some of the stuff, be guided. Okay? Check yourself. Make sure you're not coming from an extreme place. Okay? Because on this platform, we don't anyway. We don't generalize. We don't use polarized views to get clicks. We don't do that. So it should be well balanced enough for an average person. But we also understand that if I don't take a side quick enough for some people, they start to the para, this is Men of Prestige. This is the Prestige family. Okay, so we take our time. So in fact, it's one of the reasons why I decided to continue the story today, because I felt like maybe yesterday we might have rushed a bit too fast out of it. Whereas there's some more lessons. Obviously, there were some more lessons, because today people just para online today, particularly people that had a lot to say about not taking a side fast enough. I think I'm well balanced. I think thank you, Chiye. Chiye says it's fine now. Cool, perfect. Yesterday, I think many times, ahead of time, I made it clear that
you're right.
You're probably right, whatever you feel. Whatever side you're taking on this, But you're also probably not getting much out of it in terms of life lessons if you're very quick to take a side. It's also an indication, potentially an indication, that you're not able to look at things objectively. You're just ready. You can't wait to cast that spirit of judgment on at least one of the sides, either Halima or the Apostle Suleman Johnson. I've also noticed that there are multiple battles going on. Okay. Somebody said, what do you mean court in session? Well, we're talking now, right? This court, right? Court of public opinion still is just my opinion, okay? I can't even claim it's professional opinion, just my opinion, okay? All right, and generalized to a large extent, fairly large extent, okay? Just not extreme, okay? So, anyway, we're talking about Halima. There are multiple battles going on. There's Halima versus Suleman Johnson on this particular allegation. But then there's also the Halima versus all the other atrocities that Suleman have committed. You see, when you conflict those two together, it's very easy to start going crazy and start to the para online. Like, after all the thing this man has done, you're still taking that. Like, calm down. We are very clear on how this man conducts himself. We've made that clear that he conducts himself recklessly, obviously. Is it just him? Only Mr. Johnson. That was the session yesterday, right? Excuse me. This is going to be a struggle today. But we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. The show must continue, right? So yeah, we're going to continue that story today. We're going to analyze every word she says. Why are we focusing on? Because she's the one talking. He's already filed 21 billion naira lawsuit. We're gonna have to wait until he says something or he makes some statement about that. It's your opportunity to practice patience. If he's not saying anything, you have to nurture some ability to be objective here, right? You can't judge what is not being said, right? You can Oh, by the way, by default, the public will judge silence. All right? By default, the public will judge silence. We get that. I'm very aware of that. As a matter of fact, we preach over here. We suggest that people should have realistic, manage their expectations, okay? So we're very aware of that the public will have opinion that are skewed to whatever they can relate with the most. It is what it is. But that's not going to stop the Prestige family from unpacking this whole thing. Okay? Shinya said, yesterday it looks like people wanted to take a side. We did a good job yesterday trying to find a balance. Maybe one or two comments that seemed like, they were trying to get me there, to say, hey, are you not going to check this guy for all his beer? Like, listen, I have checked him. I said, this guy, and what do you want me to say? We know his conduct. The only thing is that about this particular allegation, there's not much that we have outside of the fact that he said he's going to hold himself accountable using, granted, a system that we can trust, a judicial system that we can trust. But that's what you got. That's what they have in that society. And we have to use it. We have to wait for whatever statement, whatever that court case says. We're just going to have to wait. Listen, it's 2023. You're not going to get away with saying somebody spiritually attack you and suddenly somebody should go and pick them up. That's not going to fly. I understand that may be how certain sector of the market feels. Yeah, he attacked her like a... Okay, I can't argue with you with that. So we're not going to get away with just taking it like that. It's 2023. Back in the days, did you know 50, 60, 70 years ago, people could be easily stoned and destroyed for somebody saying this person is a witch? Did you know that? Did you know that a lot of those things were happening? Oh, by the way, still happening in some places. Is that the kind of society you want? Where somebody just says something, we're not going to go through the due process. We're just going to say, hey, because they have a track record that they moved this way, or because he rolled his eyes somehow yesterday. No, let's just destroy that person. It's not good enough. D-Love says, people are funny, Sha. You can't tell someone how to run their show and pick a side to appease you. It's okay. They can. It's a matter of, but we have a show to run nonetheless, right? But you were highlighting things on both sides, more of a balanced view. I think we did that. And but I'm saying more of what I've seen around the internet today in discussions about this. I'm noticing people are very quick to attack one side or the other. If a person is being objective and they're looking at both sides, they tend to get attacked by a certain side. And one of the case they're making is because, hey, we know how this guy moved. Like, oh, there's a picture of his bowler on Twitter. That's not good enough. That's a different conversation altogether. Like, oh, if you want to look at him and say, okay, this guy, he calls himself pastor, he's not condemned. You're right. But this particular allegations right here are exactly that, allegations. Okay, that's exactly what they are. Good to see you, Audrey. Hello from New Jersey. Hello, neighbor. No, not me. I have so far part of that story. You have? Life with Natsu. Good to see you. I hope I feel better too. We gotta get this together, But if I need a rest, I'll take it. I promise you. I have no problem doing that. All right. Good to see you, Fumi. And Audrey says, this pastor has a pattern, but we have to look at both sides. This pastor, in my personal opinion, moves a certain way and he will collect. We've said that how many times yesterday, right? He will collect. water. Right? It's not gonna escape it. Listen, people just don't come out of the woodworks and start accusing you random willing it. It's where there is how do you say it? There's no smoke without fire. Right? No matter how much the Nigerian society are very quick to protect their pastor, I understand it. That's what religion does to you. Religion gives hope, but also there's the other side of it. Right? Religion gives hope to a lot of hopeless people. And honestly, I can't discount that. Some people, that's all they have. But as a man, as an individual, you keep moving a certain way for the past 5, 6, 7 years right now.
You will end up in McDonald's.
It will end up in McDonald's. It's just a matter of time. Okay. And people like them, especially when they're powerful, they don't necessarily know how to stop. Because it's like a drug. You know, they feel invincible, they feel they can get away with it, and they don't stop until they hit rock bottom. Just like Halima did not stop until she hit rock bottom. Let's not get it twisted. She did not stop until she hit rock bottom. What's the rock bottom? Oh, it's life. She's about, I understand. I get it. I know that you have empathy for her because it's a matter of life and death. But that's not enough. You know, we can only have empathy. We have to still look at things squarely and say, hey, auntie. Okay, not the auntie. Us that we're here, the Prestige family, we have to look at this and extract the lessons. Without worrying about somebody is going to call us victim shaming or victim blaming. Okay, because we're not talking about the victim. First of all, we don't know who the victim is. We don't. We know a person that's playing the victim right now. It's very likely she's a victim. It's a victim of oppression, a victim of a person that's trying to shut her down with power, with money. But that same person has a case in court charging, for deformation of character. Our new word is deformation of character. You don't want to wait. Why? Because he has track records. That's how we create terrible societies. We have to look at things case by case, individual case by case, right? And people are innocent until proven guilty. That's what builds the type of society that you and I want to jump out to all the time. By the way, we have a secondary story we're going to cover today. Okay? We're not just going to let this people take over. We have another story we're going to cover today that we have to cover today. All right. So I want to continue from there, from where we are yesterday, where we were yesterday. Take it from there. But before I do that, let me do some quick shout outs. Good to see you, Cool. She said, "Hi, Ola. Thank you. I appreciate you, Cool. Good to see you." And go meet wait to be that one. Oh. One day is cup go full. Now. Ojo gbogbo to le. Ojo kan to ni nkan. I'm not saying he's guilty of anything. Okay, all we know is that he has a pattern. That's all we know. You're not going to force me to say any more than that. All right. Yvette says this pastor, small p, does move a certain way. It's a general. It's a generous. You know, he's a generous animation. You know what I'm saying? You know what animation is, right? That's what it looks like. Right? His name comes up so much. Yeah, it's more that I'm also learning. But I had more than enough. The Stephanie Otobo was more than enough. The recent case with the pastor who claimed that he tried to steal his wife and the pastor went back to him, that was obvious to me that there was a lot of manipulation. I actively trying to manipulate the public in that, right? That's all I needed. Those two. To make my own personal opinion. But I'm also aware that if somebody comes with an allegation, we have to look at that like a separate case. Okay? Listen, the track record is going to hunt him down anyway. But we have to still look at each case separately. Okay? He will most definitely end up in McDonald's. Yeah. I pray Suleman doesn't get away this time. 2023 should be the year, Suleman, for him. So this is the other side. Some people say, let's encourage, nobody should discourage this lady so that other people can speak up. I understand that part too. It's just that we also have to address all these girls that are chasing after married men who think they can get away with it. We also have to address that part because we know that in the Nigerian society, because of people's desperate need to feed themselves, to take care of their family, they are ending up in this situation. Right? We know that there's a lot of girls moving that way and they think it's just today. They're not thinking about 5 years from now when they will end up joining the Me Too movement. Listen, the Me Too movement is not just for people who don't want to learn how to move. Like if you've been victimized, yes, sure, I want you to speak up. But we need to keep aware that there are some people that will try to take advantage of that to be evil on either side. We can't just close our eyes and say, let everybody, no. I don't agree with that. The people that have actually been victimized should speak up. We should facilitate safe environment for them to speak up. Yes, Halima may be one of them, but it's consensual. They had a consensual relationship. The only thing that's making us feel feelings like it's not consensual right now is the spiritual aspect of it. And there's no developed society that you want to jump out to where they use that information. So what are we doing to ourselves? Is that safe? Anybody can just run outside and say, hey, my mother is a witch. My cousin was a witch. This person drained the pregnancy in my stomach. And they should just be stoned to death. Are you aware of the extreme of what you're suggesting? Even when you say it's small, see, your own worry may be small. You just say, I have experience too. But there's somebody that will take that worry to the next level. We need to be aware. Okay? We need to be aware. We need to... What is it? I want you to ask yourself, what do I look like when I'm responding or reacting to this with my emotions? What do I look like when I'm responding or reacting to this objectively? Right? You need to ask yourself that question. And this behavior is not about Mr. Johnson and Halima. It's about how does this behavior of yours translate to your personal life? Do you tend to overreact emotionally too? Right? These are the issues. Okay? It's not just about Mr. Johnson. It's about learning how to assess things from objective standpoint. Listen, if you react emotionally, you're not abnormal. Like you're like the rest of us, okay? But awareness is key in all of this. Awareness. You need to be aware that you're a human being and your emotions cannot be trusted. Good evening, Esther. Good to see you, Esther. We're just getting started. The man got virtues for H and gave her share in millions. Because she collected millions. We know about the 2.5 million naira that she agreed she collected. We know that they rented houses together. And it was the oil and gas person. Who do you think was paying for that lifestyle? We don't know, but your guess is as good as mine, right? So what should we tell young girls coming up right now? They are 19, 20, 21, 22. I don't know how old Halima is. What should we tell them? That no. You are going to be held accountable. Let me tell you something. Let me show you something really quickly. I did a quick poll. Look at this poll. Can you see my screen? Let me refresh this page just to make sure that we have fresh information. I don't know how many people took it. I don't know. Only 9 votes, so we can't tell much, There's not enough samples here. Right? Only 9 votes. But 78% says Apostle Suleman should be held more accountable. Well, I said what side? And some auntie was correcting my English. I'm sorry for the incorrect English. I said, what side does the accountability fall more in your opinion? Halima Abubakar or Apostle Suleman Johnson? We have a lot of people saying 78% Suleman Johnson. Let's unpack that. 78% Suleman Johnson. She no say na her blood. Him they used to offer the goodies of, hey, that's the society we live in. Yahoo Plus, right? Yahoo Plus. We know about those things, right? And we do know that pastors are engaged in a lot of fetish, diabolic stuff. But I can only agree that they exist. Yeah, I can't get into that conversation with you. I don't know how those things work, right? But I can tell you that that's probably not where you want to focus when it comes to your life. That, if you focus there, that's taking your attention away from the things you can learn, the things you actually have control of in life. You don't have control on if your stepmother-in-law is going to suck a pregnancy out of your enemy's stomach. You can't control that. You can only control what kind of circle you find yourself. You can only control how you interpret the events of life. You can only control your ability to be able to see problems as opportunities. %78% think 78% of 9 people. It's not a good stat, but let me just use it just for the sake of the conversation. If you move around life like 78% of your accountability is in the hands of someone else, what kind of life do you think you're going to end up with? I'm just curious. You get to answer this. I'm not going to tell you, right? If you move around life with that mindset that 78% of your self-accountability is in the hands of someone else, what kind of life, if you would guess, do you think you might create? Right? Yeah, Just J, good to see you. Just J, how are you? Good to see you. These girls don't even care that the men are married or they are destroying homes. No, the men that are married are 78% responsible for their own lives. Is that really how life works? I just asking you. I'm just asking, man. %78%, right? If you go get with married men, you're just doing wrong, girls. It's not a big deal. I heard conversations today. People do that after all. What is the big deal? Does that mean a man should be able to take your life, even though that she's still alive, right? Is that how this works? Like 78% of your personal responsibility and accountability is in the hands of the married man. Is that how this works, ladies? I'm just trying to understand. That's all. I mean, is that where we are right now? God cannot be mocked. All parties shall reap what they sow. Shikena. That's a word. Ain't that a word? Let's see. Exactly. Many women, Yvette Williams says, exactly. Many women have been chasing married men, especially if the hands, money, some families encourage it. They do. We know this, right? I mean, we can hear it all online today. What is the big deal? Does that mean you should keep trying to save your men? Why is it that it's only women that are blamed for this situation? That's what I've been hearing all day. Okay. Essentially, people can't wait to turn this to gender war. I beg, hit that like button. Thank you. We have 63 people in the room. We need at least 50 likes. Thank you. The guy self get free restaurants. Some people are going to eat their virtues away, eating life away because of poverty. Him and Atinuke are the same. Yeah. It took, some people say it takes two. So because it takes two, it should be 78% to 22% accountability. All right. Math don't end up in the bottle.
Child, there is God.
Oh, it's absolutely consensual. You know, so she's the less richer one right now. She's less rich. The rich, the lower rich. Which one? The one that's not as rich. Okay. So because of that, now he should be held more accountable. Let me give you an idea. How much do you think is being held accountable right now when you factor in the fact that his name is being dragged in the mud? He hasn't finished collecting, by the way, yet. That's not what I'm saying. It's not over until it's over. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. Okay, he go collect woto. But we have to work with the information we have, which is basically what she's saying, right? This guy has a track record of holy moly drink and oil dripping women. It's so obvious, and I think he has something. I think from all this allegation, it seems like he has something for Nollywood chicks. Like just seeing them on the screen, like that one, yeah, you know. Allah, you kokoro meet kokoro. Oh God, did you just show Aaron what? Gee, English. Over Sabi commenter, Mr. Allah, you should have commented that English is your seventh language. Who is this person? English is not my seventh language. English is English is not my seventh language. You know, English is what? Is it my first or my second language? Yoruba is my first language. English will be my second language. You know, I'm not like you, Adeo. Yeah, you probably know 7 languages. I don't know 7 languages. Sorry. Olatunji says, stop the cap. Hit the like button, I beg. We have a lot to say here. We have a lot to go through here. All right, so let me see. Is there anything? Okay, you guys are saying a lot. Let me see. Let's go back from here. Once you know that this guy is a juju master, you must run away without looking back. Well, every pastor in Nigeria, dare I say, is arguably a juju master. Wait, you need them to call the name of Ifa before they become juju master? What about just the practice? Even the way they pray to Jesus? Even the way an average pastor pray to Jesus, right? What church do you go to Nigeria right now that out of every 10 prayer points, 7 of them is not about witchcraft? I'm just picking a number, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? Right? How many do you think, if you were to guess?
Not be juju be that.
Internet Igbo, I mean social media Igbo. I must correct myself. Many married men are chasing girls young enough to be their daughters and their men. Yeah. It takes 2 now. We already know that, right? These are adults. So I said that yesterday. If you want better standards in society, systems have to be in place. Failed systems will continue. You and I cannot change that. We'll continue to encourage bad behavior. Your expectations of human beings must be managed. I don't care if it's your son. Do you understand me? People will do the wrong thing if systems are not in place. People are designed to be competitive in nature, sometimes against themselves. Okay, that means it's not all like cerebral like that, but if it feels right, they will do the wrong things. Okay, you should be 100% responsible for your self-accountability and responsibility. It's not 50-50. It's not 50-50. You can't learn. You're not capable of engaging learning if you think somebody else is responsible for at least 50% of the things that happen in your life. You will naturally blame them. You will point fingers. You're a human being like the rest of us. You have to be at least 100. It doesn't mean that justice can be served. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about from a mindset standpoint. If you want to get all the lessons out of this, you look at Halima as a typical woman. You say, as a 21, 22-year-old woman, how can I make sure I don't fall in the hands of this type of man? That is self-accountability, right? Or you can flip it. You say, as a 21, 22-year-old woman, how can I make sure that they wipe this kind of man out of the face of Nigeria's soil? How realistic is that? You think bad people are just going to completely be eradicated because you want to be a fake activist overnight? Because remember, next week, you're going to move on to another story. Remember that part. The only thing you can control is holding yourself accountable for how you move, how you conduct yourself, how you think, your mindset. That's the only thing you can control. I don't know what you want me to tell you. You know? Oh, but we can holding this type of people accountable. Yes. As a society, not as an individual. Okay? The first step is you. Right? How do you move as a person? As a man, as a pastor. It's like, how do you move, right? You will collect. You're not going to get away. There's no man of God that their name is being dragged for 48 hours that has peace of mind. Do you understand that? It doesn't have peace of mind right now. I promise her. It doesn't have peace of mind right now. Is that enough punishment? No. Like I'm saying, even if it's innocent, it doesn't have peace of mind right now. You're not getting the gist yet. And if it's guilty, you have to wait for the due process. That's how you build successful society where too many people don't feel like they have to do the wrong thing. Like give a gunje to get their way through the system, to collect contracts, to get their way through the highways. Right? Listen, there's a lot here. You guys are saying a lot. You know, maybe we already know the story, you know. Let's see. Dealer says, I feel for Halima, but the accusation of spiritual attack is ridiculous. Well, that's what you get out of a Nigerian society. Well, remember, religion represents hope for a lot of, like, millions of people that are hopeless, right? So, and part of the product of religion is people naturally, if they can't comprehend emotional intelligence, like maybe there's another reason why somebody may be misbehaving, they just say it must be somebody's mother that's doing it. Is that saying there's no spiritual attack? No. I'm just saying you're not asking enough questions. I'm saying you tend to gravitate towards anything spiritual attack faster than personal responsibility and accountability. If I tell you that how did you attract that kind of man into your life, you take it as an attack. You feel attacked. Because you're addicted to pointing fingers. Not you, of course, D-Love, right? Not saying it's not true, but how do you defend spiritual stuff in court and be accountable for something that's not quantified? Now, here's another gist that I want to add to this gist based on what you just said. She may have a case in court if she can gather enough people that this man has been moving a certain way with, okay? And those people say, hey, if one or two or three or some four say, hey, drop something in their drink, it might just be over for him. Let me tell you something. Even here in the West, like what we're talking about right now, he probably wouldn't get away with it in the Western world. They would just say, oh, spiritual attack, okay, auntie, can you show us this sort of thing? There are lawyers being paid multiple six figures to put him away for life. And they will find a way to flip that spiritual attack thing to something tangible, right? It could be interviews around the world, people he's interacted with, they will, if he's been conducting himself in a certain way, they will find enough people and they will put him away for life. So if they can do that in Nigeria, if she has that kind of money to hire such lawyers that are willing to get into it like that want to put that on their resume, that they were responsible for putting Mr. Johnson away for life, then there may be a chance there. They would just like, oh, spiritual stuff, they will use it as talking point. It won't be like a thing, but it will be kind of like a subconscious, they will plant that seed. Because again, in Nigeria, we have chief justice that believe in spiritual stuff. So it might work. It's a part of society. It might work. It won't work on paper, but it might influence where they might need to have discretion here and there. But can she afford that kind of lawyer? Is any lawyer feeling like, because the kind of lawyers we're saying she's going to hire too, they are in that same society with the same mindset. That lawyer right now probably feels like their mother-in-law is attacking them in the spirit at night. So it's not far-fetched. It might work, right? In a very subtle way, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Yes, Ola, his name has been linked with many Nollywood women. Yeah, I think he has something for Nollywood chicks. And he has money and power, and it's like he thought he could just get away with it. But it's coming to bite him in the butt. I mean, she's mentioning names. She mentioned Yabo Ojo, Shine George. Who else? They mentioned even Mercy Johnson's name came up. I'm not doing too badly, by the way, with my voice. I'm managing it small. I don't know if you noticed that I'm not yelling, right? So, yeah, they are mentioning quite a few names. I don't think these people want to put their livelihood on the line for Halima. That's the issue right now. Those are the issues. Okay. He can see their glory easily, so he launches for his victims. Yeah, you're giving him too many credit. He's just a guy who like prekus. What do you call it, prekus? That's what you call it, right? Prekus. He's just a guy who like this thing. Okay, you're giving, ladies. If you want justice served on this, okay, you need to stop giving these people too many credit. Oh, you can see this thing in the dream, and you just know, like, that can actually be a tangible thing. There are people, like, if we're talking about a non-consensual situation, those type of people that take advantage of vulnerable girls or vulnerable children, including boys, they know how to target their victim. We can have that conversation. That's more of an advanced, progressive conversation than getting stuck in this spiritual stuff. Listen, the whole world is spiritual, okay? But you're giving human beings this unnecessary powers. That's why they keep manipulating you. Because now it will turn around and say, I can see something in your life. I can see that blood over your house right now. Come and sleep at Igbeleolua for 2 days. Right? If you believe that one thing, which a lot of people are believing, you believe more. They just have to tamper with that part of your brain. And before we know it, you're falling all over again. You're hypnotized. All of us, we need to work on self-improvement. We need to improve our mindset. We're stuck. The worst thing is to be stuck in this spiritual attack thing. The devil. Oh my God. You are held hostage for life if you're not careful. Anyway. So, Halima is, the way I'm looking at it is that somebody said, I heard somebody said earlier, like, oh, people should just donate money for her so she can fight court case. Then the response of that person was like, she's not asking for money. She can afford herself. She can take care of herself. Really? Or she just wants to protect other people right now. I can see that. She's in that space. She's hit rock bottom and she feels the need to protect other people. Yeah? But I don't know. I don't know, I don't know. I just feel like, yes, feeling, my personal feelings, my opinions. She needs more people to come out. If more people, if more people don't come out, she might end up in jail. I know you don't want to hear that. I know. Remember, we're talking about Nigeria as a society. Remember, his picture of Bolas on Twitter from previous situation does not count. Right? Remember, Stephanie Otobo's case does not count. Remember, his money, his power, his influence counts more in that society. Right? So the only thing, if you truly believe that this man needs to be put away, is to encourage more stories to come out. It's possible. That's the only thing. Okay? And hopefully more recent stories. Because 2009 is such a long time ago. She did say she spoke up to 2019, but she also admitted to too many things that will implicate her as an individual. Okay? She admitted to way too many things. Right? That makes sense to me. Like, it was consensual. And she did not, it was purely transactional relationship. Okay? So I'm going to play a little bit of this video for about 9 minutes, and then we'll jump into our second story for the day, because I do want to round up in good time so you can go spend time with your family. Okay? Just in case you're not aware yet, hit that like button, share and subscribe. Okay? Hit that like button right now. You can join the Prestige family on the inside, www.lolaandola.com/WhatsApp. If that link doesn't work, this phone number works. Okay? It has to be WhatsApp only. And I'm a four times author. Four times author. This books you can download for free. This one in particular is about marriage. Okay? You download them for free from loveandprestige.com. www.loveandprestige.com. Over here we talk about relationships, we talk about power. So we're not just talking about kumbaya stuff. This world is a vicious world, and yes, if you're not the oppressor, there's a good chance that somebody else is oppressing you. I don't know if that's ever going to change. I'm sorry. Okay. We also talk about seduction, attraction. Okay. Seduction particularly so you can understand your power in a romantic relationship. Right? We talk about emotional intelligence, patience, love, and then maybe we'll talk about marriage. If you don't understand those other 7 things, don't worry about marriage. Going to work. It's 2023. Going to work. All right. So let's play a little bit of this video, and then let's see.
And he was telling me he can't sleep with any other person. That's why. And that because it's me, he's okay with it. The whole thing caught me unaware, and I was naive. I did not really, and I wasn't a spiritual person. I didn't know if it was love. I didn't know what it was. But because he told me, I'm the only person and he can't do anything like this with another person while I was bleeding.
And this was how far after it started? Was it a month after, 2 months after, or when you just, when you just started?
At that time, when I'm on my regular period, he does that.
Wow.
You understand? So there is nothing up for him.
So he does what? Right? She admitted later on, I don't know if we have time. We'll get to it, okay? We'll keep covering the story if there's time for it. But she admitted to helping him cover up his tracks and stuff like that, right? But he does what when she's on her period? She didn't say. But it doesn't sound like it's something that's non-consensual. Are you aware that that's a thing? That's actually a very important piece of information. Was it consensual or non-consensual? What did you do when you were on your period? I know we want to tag on this blood thing. They use you, but listen, whatever you feel about that, you're right, okay? I'm talking about the society we live in as human beings right now, right? What did he do that you didn't consent to as an adult? Okay, the other side of it, should a pastor be moving this way? I'll keep saying it. You want me to keep saying the same thing? I'll keep saying it. No, the pastor should not be moving this way. Okay? You know, Yoruba people have a proverb. Kile tokpo shika. Somebody help me finish that. I don't know how to finish it, but I know what I'm trying to say. Kile tokpo shika. You can't be waiting for that. You have to make sure you're taking care of yourself, protect yourself, position yourself to win in life. Life is very short. How long are you going to be waiting for a society like Nigeria to wipe out wicked people before you conduct yourself the right way? Right?
When you said, you made a statement, you said anytime you were with him, anytime you people had intercourse, you bled. Yes. Every time you are. Didn't that raise any red flag? Did you ask him any questions? What did he say?
That's when we started going out. I was dreaming of him sleeping with me.
Oh my.
So sometimes
So she had dreams of him sleeping with her. Okay? That's a big deal. If you were raised in Nigeria, you know that's a big deal in terms of how that tampers with her brain. Right? That's how, unfortunately, an average person interprets a dream like that. Ola, are you saying dreams don't mean anything? I didn't say that though. I didn't say that. Okay. I'm just trying to get you to imagine a world where everyone is dreaming. Every time they dream something weird, like they ate food in the middle of the night, or somebody slept with them in the middle of the night, they come out in the street and point finger at somebody. Imagine that type of society. Is that the type of society you would want to jump out to? Just imagine. Just think. Just go wild in your brain. Right?
I don't know, I noticed a shadow. It would be like, I just saw someone, even in Asaba when I went to shoot, Mr. Tichi Chikere can bear me witness. I couldn't act. I couldn't read my lines. My director said I'm not giving him what he wants. And then they had to call him as the next person on my phone because I was almost running mad. Something was.
What does next person on my phone mean? Is that next of kin? Right? So we know that there's something called next of kin where you actually put that person's name down and say, hey, this one is my husband. This person is my wife. This is my child, my adult child, or my parent. You can call them if there's an emergency, right? I'm just trying to get you to pay attention to the type of society we're talking about. Our problems are huge. They're all over the place, right? So they called the next person on the phone. Okay, I understand they could go through the recent calls and call the next person available, right? But the next person they're calling is Mr. Johnson.
Was going on and my head was really banging like I was going to run mad. So they had to call him. They gave him 50 missed calls. He didn't pick with my phone. My mother had to give him 15 missed calls before he called. Then he now called the location. They now asked him to talk to me so that I can act because I came to act in Asaba. When I got there, something entered me. Since then till today, like I don't want to visit there because
what does something entered me means? When I got there, something entered me. Pay attention to again. When you're narrating a story and the story is laced with all of this diabolic insinuations, right?
I don't know if I just don't know. I called him and he just said, maybe I need rest. Like, sorry cannot come out of his mouth. Or
wait. Did anybody understand this part?
What happened? Or he's always not knowing and all that. So
like sorry, I don't know. I don't know if you understand Yoruba English, but like sorry cannot come out of his mouth or something, right? There's a word here, okay? It's called expectations. She's expecting him to say sorry. And when I say sorry, it doesn't mean apology. As in sorry, where your body is paining you. As in like, I think here in America we say, are you okay? That shows that you care. Like you're actually concerned that somebody may be going through pain, right? So like, what's going on? Like he lacked empathy. That's what she's trying to say. Like he lacked complete empathy for the fact that she couldn't read her lines and stuff like that. If you're a side chick to a married man, right, and this is happening, does that sound like realistic expectations for you? Right? Does that sound like realistic expectations? What expectations should you have off of chasing after a married man? Listen, I'm not judging you. I don't judge people for how they choose to live their life. I don't know their moral standard. I don't know what God they serve. But I know the society we live in. If you're hanging out with a married man who has his own family at home, and you don't care to ever go visit him in his town and you're enjoying your life, right? Should you also expect them to have, from normal human being to human being, we should have regular empathy, right? Well, if this guy has been trying to avoid you, maybe he's trying to move on, or you moved on, right? Is that really the expectation no align? Maybe there's something she will tell us. Let's keep going.
My mother had to, ask me to come to the village. I went to the village. We started going about acting, and all that. And he kept telling me that he was coming. That's the funny part of it. You get. So we kept waiting, and then I started taking English medicine to stop it. Because if I sit down, there is no way I will not flood that place with blood.
Oh my, it was that bad. It was that bad.
I couldn't sit. If you go back to all the pictures I snapped on the red carpet, you see me with bloated tummy, with skin cuts. Those periods were the period I was going through hell. I was going through it.
Did his wife know about?
So all of the skin cut, like she went bald at one point. I think she did, right? Was all because she was going through sickness. That's what she's indicating right now.
About you?
I don't know.
She doesn't know if the wife. Let me rewind that small.
To the village. I went to the village. We started going about acting, and all that. And he kept telling me that he was coming. That's the funny part of it. You get. So we kept waiting, and then I started taking English medicine to stop it. Because if I sit down, there is no way I will not flood that place with blood.
Oh my, it was that bad. It was that
crazy.
bad.
I couldn't sit. If you go back to all the pictures I snapped on the red carpet, you see me with bloated tummy, with skin cuts. Those periods were the period I was going through hell. I was going through it.
Did his wife know about you?
I don't know.
So
Because
she never made
from
contact.
what I've seen and what I'm still saying, he was living many lives. Because it's not double life again. It's many lives. Because I'm not the only one apparently. Some are dead.
Do tell.
For real. The people I know, some are dead.
I don't understand. Please come again.
Like the people I know that knows
that he dated.
That was bleeding too. She died. The other one had the spinal cord. She had an accident. She was bleeding too. They all came to me. The other one is a musician. She's late now. I want to face him in court if we are going to go so that, we can have a really nice, what do you call it? Trial.
You have time to defend yourself. Did this musician came to you and, spoke to you about him?
He told me already that he told her we are dating. So she's going to come and act like my friend, which is the same thing Iyabo did. So, my dear, this thing is deep.
Wow. So the other person is now on the wheelchair.
Yes. I have their interviews.
You have their interviews. Good. So I was going to ask something before you. So while you were at the location, please make me understand, you were constantly bleeding.
Yes.
Continuously.
And I couldn't read my script.
That must have been because you lost too much blood.
Yes. So I couldn't say anything. And, it was just shameful. Something that you've been doing for years. Somebody will just come and destroy your life. And you're not the one calling him up and down.
So at this point, in the real world, the type of word you would want to japa to, it's not perfect in the word you want to japa to, by the way. I'm just saying there's a reason why an average person wants to japa to that place. They would ask, what do you mean somebody will just come and destroy your life? Like, can you elaborate? That's what they will ask. They won't just be like, They won't just, right? They won't just go,
hey, I hear me, by me.
right? I understand Nigeria, you might be able to do that, an average person, because we all can relate. Because we were raised, some of us raised in white garment church, some of us raised even with a little bit of agbo, bere, leyin, and stuff like that. That's the honest truth, okay? So we can kind of understand what she's saying. But there's a reason why we want to jump out to the other side. In that type of world, they will say, what do you mean? We're not just going to assume what you mean. What do you mean by someone will just come and want to destroy? Yeah? They would ask that question.
Somebody that, shed tears to be with me. Something happened.
This is
was that the ring you gave to me, the wristwatch, the promise, as in what was all that about?
He gave you a ring, so you guys were engaged or something?
He gave me a ring.
Proposed. He proposed?
Yes, and even a promised wristwatch. I have everything here.
So now I want to ask you. Now we have a period of when it didn't come. Now we have a period after the list came out. So now I want to pick from that time now. From that time up till now, apart from the time that he said go and die, did he make physical contact with you? Did he try?
No. He sent somebody to threaten me and tell me if I do not debunk this, he will not talk to me again.
Okay.
And I sent him a message directly that, what do you mean you won't talk to me? Were you talking to me before? Because I've not heard from him since 2019.
Okay.
And suddenly, you understand, if you don't talk to me for that long, is it now? I didn't even care about all those things till one of the bloggers actually wanted to use me. She said, "Oh, this person was your ex, Sabi, or you guys are still dating? I don't know, sir." She wanted to use her brain on me. So
okay.
When she came, I'm like, "Why?" She said, "Because I just commented on Iyabo's page, and Iyabo has been the one saying so and so to Johnson about me." The lady said. So I said,
okay.
Why would you say a thing like that for? Because she has been to my house, even though I knew they were small. Even if he said she's his cousin, I'm not stupid. Then she was coming close to me. You understand? I can't believe, Iyabo is the so-called sister. She came to my house severally. Then I gave her a role in my movie. She gave me a role, which I thought was a sisterly thing to do.
Was that period, the time that Iyabo came to see you in your house, was that the period where you were at home bleeding?
When I started
said, okay.
Yes. I actually cried to Iyabo that my boyfriend did this, and she was actually consoling me. Then I was emotional. Iyabo was consoling me, and then she went to tell him, and he sent me a message that I'm going to tell every Nollywood story person about us. I'm like, can you imagine somebody I'm hiding? I've never agreed to have dated you. So the lady asked me to go and delete that comment from Iyabo's page, which I did. She now told me everything Iyabo said. I'm shocked when she wrote that thing she wrote. I'm like, she just wanted to defend herself.
Okay, so sorry, which statement was this? Because initially you said you just wanted to say your own part, you didn't want to bring other people. But now that you mentioned the statement, which was the statement they asked you to, you put up a statement, what statement was it that you were asked to delete? What was the particular thing?
No, okay, no, I just said beautiful.
That's
beautiful. That's all. I am always, saying beautiful on her post. There was no maliciousness or anything.
So he asked you to delete that post?
No, a lady. I don't actually want to call her name. She did.
Okay.
She did a write up on this issue.
Okay.
She came in to, she came into my life with her own malicious intent, because she's been doing that anyway. So she now said I should go and delete it. Now that I don't know my enemies, I don't know my friends. So
but does she?
I went back after hearing what she said, then I deleted it. So I unfollowed Iyabo. I unfollowed her. So when I unfollowed her, I said, "Wow, I can't believe." And I said, "Thank you so much. I can't believe you told me this and all that." I was, saying, "Oh." She now said, but now she want me to do her a favor back. I said, "What is it?" She said she want me to send Johnson a message saying that she wants to write about both of us, so that she can come in and bring us together and all that.
So is this person a blogger or is she in your industry?
Yes, Stella Dimoko. She inserted
Jesus is Lord.
This Stella Dimoku lady, she keeps popping up everywhere. That's the second name she just mentioned. You mentioned Iyabo Ojo, and she mentioned Stella Dimoku. Right? Names are coming up, okay? So maybe there's something there, right? Maybe she has a chance in courts. Names are coming up. Stella Dimoku. I remember I played a little bit of a video with her yesterday. Some people were in the comments saying she's she was once a respectable blogger and journalist. This is a lot of mess. A lot of mess. But let's keep going. Let me see how far we are. Okay, let's see if we can knock out.
inside.
Okay.
She posted on her page now and removed all her. My dad had. I think I went to Ghana to receive an award, and she said, "Why didn't I tell her? Why don't I give her my gist?" I said, "Because I know her. I'm not somebody to sway anymore like that. I wasn't interested in anything she wants to write about my career." And then she kept saying she didn't know I was ill. She didn't know I was ill, but made 30 posts about it. It's not necessary. So he now said, I should send the story, let him see. And I sent him the story. When I sent him the story, she said, "Oh my God, that's not what she said I should send him. I didn't know I sent her a chat instead of the blog post." So,
okay.
Yeah,
So I just noticed that my comments are not feeding in anymore for some weird reasons. I'm looking at, I had to go check on YouTube. Let me see. My comment has not been loading for a while. I was wondering, was everybody sleeping? Because sometimes people just listening. Oh Lord. Stella that two-faced now, traitor. Anyway, it probably wasn't a bad idea that I wasn't looking at the comments. I'm looking. Ibiole, you need money now. Then you go back to him. Your life will. Hey, Jesus. Anyway, let's keep going with the stories. Let's see. Kemi, I did Poji, shout out to you. She says, "Good question. Do side chicks deserve settlement after the end of an affair? Because Halima kept asking for him to settle her." That was part of the story, right? It's crazy. But let me just keep going. Let's just keep going.
That means when you sent it to Apostle, Apostle Suleiman told Stella. Stella now got.
His name is Johnson.
Oh, why? Oh, Johnson. Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know him as Apostle, so don't call him Apostle, please.
Okay, sorry about that. So when you.
This is why I couldn't say Apostle, because she said, "Don't call." This is the part I remember. That's why I keep saying Mr. Johnson. Okay. That is, he doesn't know as Apostle.
Johnson contacted Stella that see what she sent to me. And then Stella now said.
He now said I should ignore. He didn't answer any of these messages, all these says. Then he said ignore. When he said ignore, and now because then I already told him that my mother was ill.
This StreamYard is stuck. I'm seeing 70 people. There's actually about 119 people watching, and I have only 30 likes. Can everybody please hit that like button? Thank you so much. Hit that like button. Thank you so much as you're hitting that like button. While you're doing that, I'm just gonna look at I'm gonna look at the comments. What is going on here? Let me do this. Let me try to refresh. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me see if refresh will help us fix this. This is just, come on, StreamYard. Give me 1 second. I'll be back. Okay. All right, I'm back. I can see my feed now. My feed is back. Let me pull up the video. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard. Can you guys hear me loud and clear? If you can hear me loud and clear, let me know.
Told you was a Sunday school teacher, and then you found out
something was going on because I know her. he now thought he was talking about me, and the girl's name is Choma Okoye. The Choma Okoye now called
Choma
me to tell me
Okoye.
that Sule is talking about me and it's hurting my parents. So I now sent him a message that because I asked you for money, you said if there is anything they need to buy, we should let you know. If anybody gives me money, it's a problem.
Wow.
So
It doesn't allow you to collect money from other people.
Nobody. So that's the only person I know. I don't do runs. Everybody knows that.
She doesn't do runs. Why? Because you have this one person that's taking care of you. I don't know how they define them. You know, I haven't spent my adult life in Nigeria at all, so I don't know how you guys define it. Because she didn't spend, because you have only one boyfriend, even though they're married and does that mean it's not runs? Is that how you define that? Is that how that works? Okay, so the feed is still stuck. I don't know why. But I can see on on YouTube. Mari Indeta, shout out to you. She said, "Man of God." The Babalawo instructions, so the Ogunogo spoil. Hey, Jesus Christ. She's correct. Let's forget the title and refer to him by his name, Johnson. Okay, all right, Mr. Johnson. Oh, can I say Mr.? Let's see, Jesus. All right, let's just keep going. Because I actually had another thing that I wanted to cover here in a few minutes, but let's keep going.
So I don't understand. Seller was now saying he doesn't owe me. If I don't go and delete this thing, he doesn't owe me anything. My dear, I was pregnant 3 times. Do you know that? What's your business? You saying he doesn't owe me. How do you know that?
Okay, so that means while you were talking to him about that means he was in contact with Stella because Stella couldn't have known.
She now told me she thought I had a baby because I had to lie that I had a baby. So
Okay.
she now said she wants to come back and take care of my baby. How can you come back and take care of my baby? If I had a baby, is that how Stella is going to give my child away like that?
Wow.
She told me that's an innocent child. If there was a baby, is that how Stella would take that baby and give it to Johnson?
So this means that all the while she was in contact with you, somehow
was in contact with her.
Anyway, let's leave this alone for now, because I don't want us to go over time today. I'm gonna share this screen with you right now. We've got this thing to cover. Okay, I got this other story to cover, and listen, if it's still popping tomorrow, we'll come back to it. Okay, all right, we'll come back to it tomorrow. There's another video here that's that we can analyze together. Of but I'll leave this last word in terms of for now. Because I think this story is going to be a gift that will keep giving, right? I'm hearing a lot of entitlement. I'm hearing no healing. But some people claim like, oh, she needs to speak her truth. And this is the first step in the healing. Maybe, okay? She's not my client, so I don't know, right? But this is definitely the person that has not learned any lessons yet. This is a person that's given up on everything and they're willing to throw the bathwater away with the baby. That's where we are right now with this right now. Okay, so let's be clear about that and be aware. The social media, somebody said, oh, she can feel heard on the social media. No, she won't. This is where the title came from. I said free at last. Nebo. Free at last. Really? Free at last? Do you think she's free at last?
Stop the cap.
You think she's free at last? Do you think she's free? She's speaking her truth. Is this the first step towards freedom or this is going backwards? I'm asking, right? Kemi Adepoju says, didn't Halima say she had the abortion and, oh, not that word. And Suleman wanted her to keep the baby? Yeah, she eventually said that later at some point, Is she free? Is this the first step towards, it could be. Yeah, but I'm hearing a lot of entitlement because she did not say she engaged non-consensual relationship. This was all consensual. It ended. Okay? And she's like, I'm going to speak my truth. That's what she's doing right now. A lot of people are speaking their truth. They end up in more poto. you know. So I don't know. She's not ready. She is not ready. All right. So I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna try something real quickly. It could be my browser. I don't know. And I'm gonna try something, and I'll be right back. Just hang in there, because we have one more story to cover before we end here. Let me try it real quickly. And I'll be right back. Okay, I still see that we're not feeding. You guys can see me, but we're still not feeding. We're not feeding into my studio. So we're just going to have to manage it. But you guys can see my screen when I share. So I'm going to share this this second story that we have today. I'm going to give you some quick disclaimer, quick disclosure, full disclosure. This story is a story of a person that's going to be completely anonymous for those of you that followed Auntie P. In fact, he might actually end up seeing this story, which I am fine with. So full disclosure, I'm not mentioning names. I paraphrased quite a bit. I'm going to read it to you, then we're going to analyze it together. Okay? I'm going to read it to you, and then we're going to analyze it together. Let me just make sure that you can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Just say loud and clear. I'm looking on YouTube right now. Just say loud and clear. I think it should be fine. Okay, yeah, it's fine. All right, good. So this story right here, I'm going to read it to you. We're going to go through it together. The story is abroad wife kicked me out. Kicked. English is my, somebody says seventh language. Kicked me out of my own house. Colluded with Canada's system. Okay. This person's my brother because out of due respect, I don't want to engage another person without being, on a personal level. But he's put this out in public domain. I asked Auntie B, gave me the permission to use this. We're going to use it. I'm not mentioning names. It's purely anonymous. Okay. So we're going to talk about this story. I'm going to read it to you. Thank you. Ola Olatuji, you can hear me. That's awesome. All right. So I'm going to read it and then I'm going to analyze it. Hopefully we can round up in time. Okay. But this is a very, very important story that I think there are a lot of lessons. There are lessons around parenting, lessons around marriage, relationships, right? Emotional intelligence, of course. So, and I feel like, I resisted the urge, but I was like, no, we have to talk about this. We have to talk about this right here. Okay. So for those of you that are brand new here, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Okay. We just crossed the 2100 mark. We are growing together. We're talking about emotional intelligence. We're not just covering this topic for random sake. I want you to take this back to your relationship, and then learn how to apply them. Okay. I want you to process what I'm saying and then take it back to your relationship. Maybe hopefully you're enlightened, right? So let's go through this. I'm going to read it out to you, and then we'll analyze it step by step together, if you will. Let's see. All right, I'm going to make it bigger, and then we can read it together. Okay, there you go. All right, so a abroad wife kicked me out of my own house, colluded with Canada's system. When it's family matters, it's like the government chooses sides. When your wife calls the authority, they don't investigate, they charge you and put you into the system. This can push people to a limit where they question, what am I living for? It's a business But these are people's lives. My wife calls the police on me, and for the last 9 months, I've stayed in my aunt's house and not my own house. 13 years old son who is going in the wrong path. Most black kids, okay, so they asked him a question. Said, wow, okay, he has a 13-year-old son who is going in the wrong path. Most black kids in Canada are lost. A lot of black kids are in prison with the justice system. If you're not careful, you will lose your kids into the system. My wife is African American and half Canadian, so she doesn't understand my parenting style. It seems like my son is getting caught up in the computer. As soon as after school, he stays on it from 3 p.m. after school till 5 a.m. the following day, playing games with people we don't know. Can you guys hear me? Let me just check in. Because again, the studio is acting up right now, so I can only check in. All right. You guys can still hear me, right? Yeah, so I think the son is now, when it happened, it was 13 years old. When this event happened, he was 13 years old. But the son is now 14. Yeah, you will get, I think we'll get to that point later. I'm not sure if I remember I said I'm loosely paraphrasing too, right? So it seems like my son is getting caught up in the computer. As soon as after school he stays on it from 3 p.m. after school till 5 a.m. the following day, playing games with people we don't know. He's very intelligent, good with coding meaning computer programming, but I want him to use that talent into something else. When I tell him to clean his room, he sees it as me being hostile to him. And because the mother grew up in this environment, she doesn't believe in talking to my son the way I know. So sometimes when I talk to my son, he will talk back. When I ask him, who are you talking to? My wife will say he has the right to talk. And then I answer, I am not saying he doesn't have the right to talk, but he shouldn't be talking back with an attitude. I'm still paying the bills of this house. You don't have a... Okay, so this was literally how he stopped. He was trying to say something. So that day, the boy just told me that, you watch if I will not buy you. So I said, what do you want to buy? That means off him, okay? Off him, his life. He punched me and the mother rushed there and they both attacked me. When the police came, I'm the one that was charged. They charged me with assault weapons when I don't have a weapon. Okay, that's crazy, right? I help my wife sometimes if she wants to buy a car. One of our family members bought a brand new Toyota RAV4. Since that day, problems started because she wants the same car. So I said, you have a 2015 car that we bought with $45,000. Money that I lent you and you haven't even paid that off. I refused to pay for a new car and she started calling me names. What kind of husband am I? And the sorts. She has a job. In my driveway, there are like 4 cars and I don't need all that. I want to do real estate. I want to be like the Indians and make money. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. So I said I can't help her and problems started. Here's another allegation. She said I had been threatening her since 2007 when we got married and 2008 when we had this boy. Because of this matter with my son, when I went to Nigeria, I discovered that she went to appraise the house in order to discover the value of the house. Since then, she said she wants a divorce so that she can get half of the house. She's now telling the police that I threatened her. I'm going to buy her. I'm going to offer her. That's what she's saying, right? And body harm her for the past 14 years. Okay. But my own is, if this is so-called advanced country has, well, my own is, if this so-called advanced country has common sense, why can't they investigate? We just came back from Costco on the day of this incident. Costco is a store. It's a superstore. Superstore. You get it. And she was the one driving. We lived in the same house. How can I threaten her? In 2021, I was in Nigeria for 6 months. She doesn't care that I simply want to raise our boy. this boy called the vice principal of his school a bitch in a letter. He's a well-articulated and smart boy. I still have the copy of the letter. In Canada, they don't investigate at all. I've been here for 26 years. Even I work with the government. This Canadian system is an evil system. It was built just to make money. You go to the court and they will charge you with 14 offenses and they want to do the case in 30 minutes and just go. I do have a lawyer and they are all the same. Canadian lawyers are the worst lawyers to have. Yes, the Jewish lawyers are good, but at the same time, a lot of people don't want to practice criminal law in Canada anymore. They said it's not worth it. It's a planned system and they've already made up their mind. Without evidence or going into the details of the case, they are not looking for the truth. With the Canadian system, the prosecutor is not looking for justice. He's looking for his own desire to make good on the paper, like I do my job. They just want to give you a plea deal. If you go to trial and lose the case, you go to prison. This is what especially happens to a lot of black kids. They take a plea deal. I know one Nigerian family, someone called the police on the son that he had a gun and he never had a gun. The lawyer told the stupid boy to plead guilty and the boy took a plea deal. And a year later, his friend was caught with a gun and they now said he is the one that gave him a gun, which is a lie. The boy is still in prison till now. These kids believe you are stupid once you come from Africa. They believe they know better. These kids will say, Dad is from Africa. They don't see themselves as from Africa. The same prosecutor that's fighting for them at 14 years old is the same prosecutor that will send him to jail. The prosecutors here make a $280,000 salary per year. Why do you think they will care about other people's lives? They don't have love for black boys and they don't know them. Because she said she's scared for her life, they arrested me, that's the wife. Because she said she's scared for her life, they arrested me and took me to the station. Even though they were supposed to release me, my wife said she's so scared to come back home and she has never seen me in this position. She's scared for her life. The detective told her, as written in the statement, don't worry, I'm going to do something that he will never come home again. They came back and put another charge on me and they had to put me in prison for 2 days. And the court had to decide if they will release me. They want to play me. They think I am stupid. My lawyer told me to plead guilty, so it seems the lawyer is siding with the prosecutor. I am very smart. I've worked with the government and I have read a lot of stuff. I fired the lawyer. My son told me he's going to off me, and you as a lawyer are telling me he's not going to do it. Is it not last week that a 6-year-old boy took a gun to school and shot his teacher in the face in Virginia? Kids don't understand it. How come foreigners come here and head the whole organization, and you who was born here are working at Burger King? They get caught up with the fact that they can work at McDonald's and buy Jordans as teenagers. And when you tell them there is something better, they don't want to listen. They just want the shiny stuff. The mother is half Canadian, half American. They don't see anything wrong in their family. They have people who want to jail in their family and they are used to blaming the white man. In actuality, they are helping the white man. In this system, they don't care. The kids don't understand that the government doesn't want them to succeed. I have 2 kids with her, but they've put a restraining order and I can't see them. They still live in my own house, still paying the mortgage and property taxes. Even though she's scared for her life, she's still living there and not paying anything. If I didn't have a heart, this can push people to do things they don't want to do. Remember, this story was a response to somebody that, husband and wife, they off themselves, right? The story of the Iwuchuku. Exactly. So, men get assaulted too. If I show you my left hand here, you will see marks all over it. When I'm walking away and don't want to argue, she pulls me and she has left nail marks on me. At this point, Atibi stopped it and said, basically wanted to move on with the show. But towards the end of the show, he came back. He came back because he had been reading the charts and people had a lot to say. By the way, if you're listening to this, again, I will apply as much empathy as I can. But without, I don't want to do that at the expense of not extracting the lessons as usual. We need to extract lessons here. Let me continue what he said when he came back. He said, I want to clarify, someone who doesn't live in Canada is assuming I don't live in Canada, but I see a lot in these lessons, in this story, okay? Someone who doesn't live in Canada is assuming that I did something bad, okay? I promise you, I think you're a good guy. You probably didn't mean to do anything bad, even if you did. But anyway, the Canadian system doesn't have to have any evidence against you. It is a money-making system, and that's why they have a police and court system running. It's repeating the same point. Okay. If you allege that I threatened you, go and look at Canadian law and see what threatening means. Even verbal threat with no evidence. People were saying my demeanor when the police came. The police guy that came is a mixed guy. He told me, sir, I understand my dad is Jamaican. Do you have a place to go? I am not going to arrest you. The other guy that came is of Jamaican descent too, which is black. He said, because the boy has a bruise, I didn't touch this boy. The mother shielded him against the wall, and the boy, along with her, was beating me up. I called my wife and asked, you're going to fight me? The justice system also makes you the villain. That's paraphrasing, a lot of paraphrasing, just so you know, okay? But it's anonymous anyway, okay? The justice system also makes you the villain for being a big guy with muscles. Men get abused all the time. Go and look at Johnny Depp's case. I am not a woman abuser. I came from a humble home. I never put my hands on my family or anything. When we have a kid who is going through the wrong path, why should people give excuses? So even if my son can abuse me, is it okay for my son to be going to school to call the teacher names, daring the vice principal and threatening to do something if they don't take them out of school? At this point, Auntie B chose also to shut it down because she didn't want him to implicate himself, which I agree. He was implicating himself, okay? Especially if there are court cases still in court. All right. So that is that story. We're going to spend the next few minutes going through these lines so that we can unpack it. But let me see. Unfortunately, StreamYard is not showing me anything in the studio, but I can see that you guys can still see me on YouTube. We have about 99 people left here. Some people were only here for the gist of AT LAST. That's fine. All right, so let me just read some of your comments before I continue. You can't see on the screen, unfortunately, because I can't pull it to the screen. Gore's Corner says a pattern of lies should have been observed from the boy in the past. Mario says, I live in Canada. There is some truth to his generalizations, and there are things that are so specific to him that he puts down to society. I agree 100%. One of the things with generalization is because it's laced. One of the things that's very difficult with generalization is it's laced with tons of truth, like actual events, right? Like things like you're like, yes, right? That you will agree with, right? But that's actually what makes it dangerous, because then it becomes, you might be potentially offending a person when you say, hey, maybe I can help you with this part, right? That you can potentially offend them just like that, That's one of the reasons why I chose to not include my brother's name here. But I believe there's a lot of people that are listening to this that will benefit from this. Okay, so you're absolutely right about that, Marriott. Let's see. He will still do. Let me make 1 second. He will still do it. He can stop work and do contract. Whatever she gets till the kids are 18. Okay, you guys are talking about something like collecting money, blah blah blah. Yes, smart, and he still fired the lawyer. He didn't and has gotten another lawyer because of smart. Yeah. It's point of contention right there, right? Eunice says, this gentleman misrepresented the Canadian judicial system in all ramifications. I am African Canadian with over 10 years experience in legal system and investigations are done. Okay. I knew it. I knew somebody would tell us that. We have 100 people watching. So thank you so much. Give me another 20 likes. Okay. I'm going to go through this. I'm going to go through this. There's a lot of stuff in there. I find that with Canadian lawyers, you sometimes need to tell them what you want. I mean, advocate for yourself. Okay. Model. Shout out to Model. Toby and Tribe, good to see you. She says, the home is without peace. Best to leave that environment before it goes to prison. You know what I'm saying? Right? Exactly. I know he cares about his son, but he needs to put himself first at this point. Exactly. See, when I'm trying to help men with this type of issues on these public platforms, they don't realize I'm actually trying to help them. Like, you're overworking your capabilities. You need to back off and allow the forces of nature to help you a little bit. You will drown effectively. You will drown if you don't calm down. Anyway, let's keep going. The home is without peace. Best to leave the environment, yeah. But he needs to put himself first. Yes, he needs to put himself first. Yes, even before the child. Yes, I said it. Yes, even before your son, especially before anyone else, including your wife, right? But maybe he can't comprehend that yet. I'm going to go from the beginning. He will still do it. He can't stop work. Okay, we already stuck there. Okay, let's see if anything else. If you're raising the kids from the onset to know their origin, they won't just see you as being from Africa and then being American or Canadian. The issues are, there are issues. There are underlying issues that I'm going to have to, unfortunately, assume. That's why I make it anonymous, because I have the freedom to assume a little bit. But my guess is that I'm probably very accurate, because I will not be going too far. It's not too far-fetched, the stuff I will point out, okay? All right. Somebody said, Gorex says, the boy will play the same card with his mom in the near future, though. That's for sure. With every relationship that boy engages, he will play the same card. The problem there is that that boy has not, dare I say it. All right, it's an assumption. I don't know them, right? But it doesn't sound like that boy has really received much proper training. Let me say proper training, okay? What is proper training, okay? When both husband and wife don't agree and one person is training, even if your training is correct, that boy is not receiving training. Will they work? A house divided against itself cannot stand. If you're saying one thing and the mother is saying another thing, it doesn't matter who is right. Both of you are not training that child. That's the harsh truth, okay? And 14 years is already mad late. At that point, you can't use aggression. Will it work? All right? They've made up their mind on what they think the world is. Probably mostly wrong, but you have to be aware of that. In order to be able to sow another new set of new seeds in them, you have to be extremely patient. Anyway, somebody said people should marry other people they share values with. Yeah, that part is also going to be questioned a lot. Even if you marry somebody in your same street, even if you marry the mother, the son, or the daughter of your mother, that you share value thing is going to be questioned. That's why we call it crisis. We call it conflict. Conflicts are going to happen more times than you would imagine. That you'll be like, maybe we don't share the same values. No, it's not that. It's you have unrealistic expectations of being in a relationship with another human being. Sometimes you have differences. You have to find your way to agreement. You have to find your way to unity first before you attempt any type of parenting. Sometimes you might have to temporarily shut your own ideas down so that you can be in unity before you try to transplant any idea into that baby. Because it's going to work. If it works right now, in the long run, it's going to backfire. That's what I see in this. But anyway, let's see. I'm going to read one last one, then I'll go into my analysis. Gora's Corner says, my take is that he also has some lapses in He didn't tell us. His wife was acting on his flaws to bring him down or to be free from the marriage while taking over their assets. Yes. And granted, naturally, you tell us your story, is your story, is how you see it, But on the other side, if I really want to be, I'm trying to pick my word, I'm trying to be nice, okay? Because I want him to receive what I'm saying. If he happens to stumble into this by any chance, all of us, including myself, if I'm telling my story and I just came out of a crisis, I'm going to tell the story that make me look good. Not because I'm intentionally trying to make the other person look bad. It's because that's particularly the reason why I was in crisis. I thought I was right and the other person was wrong. So that's the story I'm going to tell, right? But that story I'm telling myself and others is not helping me. It's in fact the very reason why I am ending up in Poto. Because I'm not coming down to see where the other person is coming from. The only thing I can see is, it's African American, so something wrong. Oh, they don't raise like us. Canadian system is terrible. It's everything else's fault but self. These are the issues, right? So let me go ahead and read this and analyze it, and then we'll call it a day. Okay. Let me take my time to read this. All right. When it's family matters, it's like the government chooses sides. As much as he said, it's not an affirmative statement, he's already started to generalize. Okay. That could be a personal opinion. It's like the government chooses sides, right? There's nothing wrong with that. The only thing that's wrong with that is that we're about to get into someone's personal story. And it's very hard. If you feel like the government is choosing sides, it's very hard to hold yourself accountable, make yourself responsible, put yourself in a position of responsibility, put yourself in a position of power to dictate the direction that you're moving right now. With understanding that in the short term, it might feel like you're not getting way ahead. But you understand that it's going to be a process, right? When your wife calls the authority, they don't investigate. That's false. There's no way you want to jump out from Nigeria to Canada and you're in a country where they don't investigate nothing. They just take the person's words, right? That's a war zone. If that was true, that would be a war zone. So that's not true. Now, let me give you some leeway. I live here in America, in the United States. There are times that the risk of leaving you in that house is just too great. If it happens to be a Friday, a Saturday, or weekend, and this person is claiming that you're about to huff them, no, they will not take that risk of leaving you out on the street. They'll rather take you inside and figure it out in the court on Monday morning if you are safe or not, if the story is adding up. The police job is to make sure they keep things safe and they can't. Sometimes the aggression may be too much from their perception, not yours. Your perception, you might not be aggressive. You might be having a different experience in your head. You might think you are right. It's your right, right? You might be, whatever it is that you're doing, I don't know what it was, but somehow the police has interpreted it that it's not safe to leave you out in the street when a whole human being who has human rights is claiming that somebody's trying to huff them. They're not going to assume that it's a lie. Okay? What they will do is they'll take you inside and try to give you food or whatever they can give you for you to survive till Monday. They will still give you what they consider your own human rights, but they will put you away till Monday morning. That's what I'm suspecting happened. Just a suspicion, okay? They don't investigate, they charge you and put you in the system. This can push people to a limit where they question, well, anything can push people to a limit. Anything can push people to a limit. We can't make light of that. We can't use that as talking point. It's actually disrespectful to people that may have ended in that way. To continue to use that as a talking point, right? Because by the way, there are places where you talk like that too. They're actually not going to assume that you won't hurt yourself. They will put you away just because you're talking like that. There's no need to bring that into, but there was a need because he was responding to the show. The show was about a couple that of themselves. So I'm going to leave that alone, right? It's a business, but these are people's lives. This is unrealistic expectations at best. Yes, a society is a business. There's no new information. Yes, the court system is a business designed to bring in more revenue for the state. There is nothing profound, nothing new about that. Okay? My wife calls the police on me, and for the last 9 months, I've stayed in my aunt's house and not my own house. My 13-year-old son, who is going in the wrong path. Most black kids in Canada are lost. Most black kids in Canada are lost. Don't make me pull statistics. A lot of black kids in Canada are lost. That is probably more of an accurate statement. A lot of kids could be 20,000, 30,000. That's a lot of kids. That's not necessarily most in Canada. But again, we start to detect that when you're speaking out of emotions, you start to say these kind of things, right? A lot of black kids, he corrects on the next one, a lot of black kids are in prison with the justice systems. That's correct. That's not most black kids, right? If you're not careful, you will lose your kids into the system. All right? Depends on what you mean by careful, right? If you're not intentional about your parenting skills, yes. More so like if you're not intentional about your parenting skills, if you lack self-awareness with respect to the society you live in and the required parenting skills for that environment, yes, you might lose your kids into the system, right? My wife is African American and Afro Canadian, so she doesn't understand my parenting style. She might not understand your parenting style. I'll leave that alone for now, okay? Right? But probably not because she's African American, Afro Canadian. It's probably because both of you have two different backgrounds. Myself and my wife have disagreed on parenting style before. I guarantee you, somebody that married somebody from their same street in Abeokuta have disagreed on parenting style before. Right? So this is not enough to throw your hands in the air and say, could it work? Right? Because that's what I'm sensing. It's like you say, could it work? Could it ever work? This Canadian system is just terrible. That's what I'm hearing. It seems like my son is getting caught up in the computer. As soon as after school, he stays on it from 3 p.m. after school till 5 a.m. in the following day. That's terrible, obviously. Right? There's no way, shape, or form that we can interpret that as, oh, that's cool. Just like, no, that's just on the surface, right? Even if it's weekend, like I have funny enough, I have a 14-year-old. Okay, there's no day of the week that he's on the computer till 5 a.m. in the morning, unless I didn't know about it. As a matter of fact, I'll leave this alone. Okay, I'll leave this one alone so I can be a little faster, right? But there's no day in the week that he's allowed. By the way, I assume that he might have been on the computer sometimes without our knowledge. Maybe he's trying to sneak, maybe he's playing game till late night or something like that. But he also knows that there are consequences if he gets caught. Right? And I will find out because his room is right next to mine. Right? If that's a repetitive thing, right? So, it's just bad that a child would till 5 a.m. in the morning. Now, how do you playing games with people we don't know? They often play games with people you don't know. You don't know all their friends in school, right? You might know one or two friends, right? You should know some of their friends. It's part of your responsibility as a parent, right? It's duty as a parent, right? So you should, but they might be playing games with cousins of their friends who lives in London and you live in Philadelphia, right? That's possible. So that's not too strange these days. Again, as long as you're monitoring their activities, they have access to the internet, they're playing games with the rest of the world. It could be anybody, right? You just have to monitor it, right? So playing games with somebody till 5 a.m. in the morning, that didn't tell me anything except that this kid has not been getting proper parenting attention up to that point in time. We're trying to aggressively change that in this moment in time. We've never really addressed it, right? That's all it tells me, okay? He's very intelligent, good with coding, but I want him to use the talent into something else. Okay, there's a way to communicate that with a 14-year-old child, okay? You need to identify what he values. You need to identify what he values with respect to short-term, mid-term, and long-term, right? What does he value long term, right? If you talk to him about college, there's some kids right now, they're not that connected to it, right? There's some kids, if they're advanced enough, they're connected. My 14-year-old child is already connected to college activities, right? So it just depends on that child, right? And you can't compare your child to mine. You have to pay attention to the particulars of your own child, understand what that is, because that's how you're going to figure out what they value, short, mid, and long term, right? That's what you're going to need to communicate that with your son. Because if you don't do that, you're going to be like, you should do this, you should do that, you should do that, and you're right. For a kid that's raised in the Western world, they would disconnect. Why? Because they think they have options, especially if you and your wife are not on the same page. Okay, so let's keep going. I want him to use that time. When I tell him to clean his room, he sees it as me being hostile to him. Okay, that again, there's a disconnect between value and telling him to clean his room, right? If he doesn't value the idea of cleaning his room, there are other things he values. Do you know what he values? If you don't know what he values, if he values playing games, oh, there's games right there. But here, there's something before that game, and we're gonna get to it in a second, okay? Before we talk about these games or cleaning the room or any of this stuff, there's something missing here. I already said it, but I will repeat it again. Hold on one second. And because the mother grew up in this environment, she don't believe in talking to my son the way I know. You sound like you've given up on getting the mother to be on the same page with you, and that's part of the problems, right? Maybe you've tried to communicate it your own way with the mother, and she's not receiving it, and you're like, they're just terrible because they were raised west in the Western way, African American / African Indian. They can't listen. You've given up, and that shows in the way you behave, in the way you try to communicate with her. What if you assume you don't know anything? You're getting to know your wife all over again. You say, babe, what do you think? What's your outcome? What do you want us to have for this baby? That's what you need to do now. It's kind of a bit late right now, but if you do find yourself back in that position where you're able to have this conversation, it's like, you know, we love this. We love our boy. I know we want the best. What's your idea of the future for her? What do you think we can set in place, right? Start to have a conversation around that, open-minded, open-ended questions where she can tell you, okay, all right, here's what I think. I think I have a plan. Now he's playing games till 5 a.m. in the morning. What do you think about that, by the way? Oh, no, it shouldn't be. See, the level of that conversation is different. Here's what I'm trying to say here. If you're not on the same page with your spouse about how you want to parent, work. I don't care how perfect your parenting style is, by default is by on arrival. The fact that you're not on the same page, and it's even worse if you are not able to get on the same page with your spouse. If you're the one who is more coming from the aggressive side of what you think should go in certain ways, you also have to add as part of your aggressive measures to get your spouse on the same page with you. That's the first step before anything else. Nothing will work if you're not on the same page with your spouse. That is the prerequisite to any other perfect methodologies you might have for parenting. You have to be on the same page with the other parent. The same is true if you're co-parenting, and this is a matter of divorce already happened. You have to humble yourself and you need to assign yourself to the end goal, humble yourself for the present, and then design a path to getting on the same page with that other parent first. If you don't do that, nothing will work. Why? Because the child will use it against both of you. A 14-year-old child no be your mate. That in some society, that's a grown person. Okay? In terms of already moving, they're already hogging on buses and downfalls around town. They're taking care of themselves. So you can't treat them like they don't have sense. You have to treat them like they have sense. Why? Because it benefits you more as a parent. It makes your life easier. You have conversations. But like I said, if they find the other parent as an ally that they can run to, they will use it every time. Like the rest of us, like adults. Like if we have options, we'll run to the options and not do the right thing. Remember we talked about failed systems earlier, right? All right. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing your comments coming in the studio, but maybe it's necessary for this session. This one is a masterclass that's absolutely necessary. Okay. And because the mother grew up in this, so all this because the mother grew up in, lose it, completely lose that, because that's shutting your opportunities down. Okay. That's basically shutting your opportunities to get to know her today down. This could be the person you marry from the same street in your village in Ilaro, Ekiti. You will still need to learn how to get on the same page with them on a moment-to-moment basis throughout the rest of your life. You will learn how to manage crisis, manage conflicts, resolve conflicts, right? But if you shut down and say, because her mother was born that way, because they used to have 6 fingers in their house, that's the problem. That is your problem. That becomes your problem. This stories you're telling yourself is shooting yourself on the legs before you even get to the main goal, which seems like it's the son. But my mind is telling me that there are other issues behind the scenes before we got to the son. And unfortunately, the situation you're seeing with your son is a product of that. Okay? So sometimes when I talk to my son, he would talk back. Because there's value in talking back at you to him in that moment. Right? Remember value? Right? The value long term is not there. Because we know we should honor our parents, our fathers and stuff, right? But in the short term, somehow that boy has comprehended that that's what I can do right now. And I can get away with it. And if you're not able to calm down, understand that from a very objective standpoint, it gets worse for you. You get caught up in your emotion, the boy is in his emotions, and then the mother is in the emotion. It's no wonder, right? When I ask him, who are you talking to, which there's nothing wrong, if my son says a certain thing, so who are you talking to? Is it possible that my son right now could say something completely off the cuff to me? Yes. But I'm also coming as like, where did that come from? What do you mean? Right? Because it will shock me, because it's never happened to us. Is it because I'm perfect? No. It's because there are some principles that guide these things. One of the problems that people say there are no principles. These are the things people tell themselves. But then they wonder where the results they are creating came from. There are principles that guide how we all show up here. And we are conducting ourselves the way we conduct ourselves. Is it perfect? No. But that's why it's called principles. Right? It's a guide. Sometimes, part of the guide is that there will be conflict and crisis sometimes. It's how you respond to it that matters. The same things that you have to learn about relationships and marriage. And then I answer, I'm not, okay, so when who you talking to? My wife will say he has the right to talk back. Now, your wife saying that, again, is basically what I already said. You're not on the same page with your wife, right? And then also, there's something deeper there. If your wife tells you your son has the right to talk back, the wife already feels some type of way about you. That part, we can't skip it. Why would your own wife, that you're in the same page all the time, things were beautiful, the marriage was in a great place, why would she feel the need to side your son, or maybe not side your son, but to be okay with your son talking back at you like that? Hey, by the way, it's generalization that African American can talk back. No, they can't. I know many of them personally, they can't talk back at their elders. They also understand respecting your elders. It's a thing. Yes, white people too. See how we tell ourselves those things and we generalize it and it suddenly becomes the truth. No, they have culture too. What are you talking about? They have culture too. No, they can't talk back at their elders too. Right? Even the ones that don't whoop their babies' butts, the white kids that we tend to give the example, they will still say, you can't talk to me like that, Daryl. Shout out to Daryl. Right? They come on now, like we're generalizing too much here, right? But this is part of the issues, because since you've made up your mind on what you think is happening, there's little room to open your mind to say, maybe there's something I don't know. maybe I can learn something. Yes, I know I've been a parent for 14 years. Somehow that means I'm an expert at parenting. No, it doesn't. No one is, by the way. Okay? But again, there are principles, okay? There are principles that you can engage. One of the first principles, keep an open mind. If you find yourself in a situation your 14-year-old suddenly woke up one day and their behavior changed, calm down, relax. The baby cannot be caught up in their emotions and you're caught up in your emotions. That makes sure it's going to be worse. Can you at least agree on that? Right? Let's keep going. And then I answer, I'm not saying he shouldn't have the right to talk, but he shouldn't be talking back with an attitude. Right? I'm still paying the bills of this house. So that day, the boy just told me that, you watch if I will not buy you. A 14-year-old saying something like that, there's a very good chance. It's not absolute. There's a very good chance that neither parent had been paying attention to him for all those times. And it's not too late, but it's almost too late. Okay, but it's too late, like I said earlier, to use aggression. It's too late. Okay, it's time to put on your big guy's pants. Okay, and engage him like he's a grown man. Okay, that means a lot of patience, because at the back of your mind, this is your son. Like, what do you mean, right? Like, no, you should get smart. That's not gonna work. You have a son that's beating you along with the mother. Clearly, that's not gonna work. Clearly, that's not working, right? Assault of any type, it's not gonna work. Okay. Start with simple conversation. So what's up? What's going on? How was school? What do you mean? Oh, okay. Can I see a list of your subjects, your classes? I'm curious about something. Right? Tell me a little bit more about this Chinese language class. How's the teacher? They speak English? Engage them. It's take a lot of patience. It's probably something you've never done before. Right? Maybe you've done this part. There's another aspect of that baby's life that you've disengaged from. Right? But right now, what this sounds like is that you are coming off as a complete stranger to this boy. There's one more option. There's a small chance, very small chance, that this boy is just evil. Like the devil just gave you a bad child. A very small chance. Like this is just spiritual attack from your village. It's a very small chance that that's what's going on. But I can't help you with that. There's a good chance you can't help yourself with that. What about if we just shut that end down and say, hey, maybe there's something here. Let me do some inventory. Maybe yes. It's not my fault. I've been working hard. Maybe I haven't spent enough time to engage how the friction between different cultures, raising the baby with two different cultures, could have created a division. What about my relationship with my wife or my ex-wife to be? Because the fact that you're divorced does not exonerate you from these responsibilities. In fact, it's needed more, right? You will still need to be on the same page with your ex-wife when you finish that divorce if you want to create a fine man for society. So that day, the boy just told me, if I'll buy you, of course, that's a terrible thing to say to a child, for his child to say to their father. I feel your pain. Like, God forbid. God forbid. That's terrible, right? But there are more questions that you should be asking. How did I get here? How did we get here? Let me trace my step backwards. Let me first of all remove these statements like Canadian government is evil. African American people are raised in such a terrible way that we can't raise children together. That's a lie. I know you didn't mean to tell the lie. This is just your experience. But effectively, it's a lie. Right? Because many of them obviously raised fine people. Obviously, right? When the police came, I'm the one that was charged. I already explained that. It's probably a good chance that the scenery, the animation, Africans, yes, we get animated and we're using hand gestures and stuff like that. If whatever it is, maybe it's your head that moved too noddy like this. Maybe you moved. Maybe your ears were tweaking too much like this. I don't know what it was. For some reason, they've determined that it's better to put you away. If you hold on to that story, because you're out now, if you hold on to that story, I understand why you may feel the need to, but there's resentment there, right? Like, how could that get in that position? My own family. I feel you. I feel your pain. But if you get stuck on that, listen, it's going to be your memory because it's a terrible experience, obviously, right? But let's look at the bigger picture. What is it that you're still looking for out of life? Relationship with your son. Potentially maybe with your wife. I don't know if that's necessary. Honestly, if somebody is saying that they feel threatened about being offed by you, I wouldn't go near that myself. If you value yourself, I would stay completely away from that. At least for now. I don't know the details of that, but that relationship was not good. Can we admit that marriage was not in a good place? And it's not the fault of African American or you being a Nigerian. It's just you didn't know what you didn't know, and that's okay. That's okay. It's happened to the best of us. There's the divorce rate out there, you can see, right? A lot of people are trying to figure this thing out, but you need to acknowledge it so that you can know what cards you're dealt, so you can know how to play it, because you still have to play this game called life. Especially when your child is involved, your son, especially if that's your first son, you must pick up these pieces. And by continuing to point fingers at the Canadian government or the system or judiciary, listen, it's not going to work. Listen, yes, it's a business. Yes, plea deals are part of the bargain. It's part of how society works. You don't want to waste resources on a stupid $150 ticket. They say, hey, here they do the same thing here. They say, hey, you're going to get 7 points, or you could just pay this $150. Don't go into the courts. There's no need. You save your day. You move about your day. Or you rather go in there and face a trial for 7 points when clearly you crossed the red light. Okay, you didn't cross the red light. Well, the camera is good enough on that stoplight to show that you crossed the red light, and you might end up with 7 points plus another $700 fine. Nah, $150. This is part of the power talk that we talk about here. Your time, what is it worth to you? Do you want to get stuck on the fact that you're right? Or you want to look at your time and say, let me look at my time and say, what is my time? Let me give them $150. Even here, in my own city here, you don't have to pay that same day. They will make an arrangement with you. That's how societies work. The society we want to jump out to, that's how they work. It's about managing resources. It's not about being right. Okay, you have your story. You're probably right with your story. I tell you that here all the time. It's not good enough to be right. You just end up blaming Canadian government, judicial system, women, another side, feminists. You'll be blaming everything when you don't understand these things. And if you're spending all your energy blaming everything else, how much energy do you have left for self-improvement, for yourself, self-love, self-respect? How much energy do you have left? When we all know that energy is neither created nor destroyed. You can't create more of it. You're just going to waste it. Mindset. These are the mindset I see in a lot of the talking point that it's like, it's like, no wonder. Could it be, yes, a spiritual attack somewhere? Yeah, it could be. It's a very small chance. There's a very high chance it's not. Okay? Could it be that this boy is just bad because the mother raised him to be bad? Yes, very small chance. I doubt it. I believe your story. This is your experience, but I doubt it. One of our family members bought a brand new Toyota RAV4. Since that day, problems started. So we're getting to the marriage issues. You notice that the stories is interwoven with marriage issues, with the parenting issues, right? It's like, really, we shouldn't be spending so much energy talking about this boy. It's like, no wonder. It's little to no wonder that this boy is like this, right? So she has the grass is greener on the other side syndrome. She wants a new car. She should be responsible for that. Okay? But something aggressively happened. Something aggressively happened on the day. Maybe she was the one that was being aggressive, and somehow the bruise ended up on the other party. Yes, they might take you away because it's not about you were right that day. It's about making sure that people were safe until you see each other in court. That's what it was about. And if she continues and there's more evidence, yes, it might put more charges, enough charges on paper for paper purposes to be able to put you away for 2 days. I believe those part of the story. I do. Those things can happen if you find yourself in the hands of the system, in anywhere in the world, here in America, in Canada. Listen, if you find yourself in that system, nothing is going to feel fair for you. Nothing. You will always feel like it's played against you, right? But you have to be self-aware that this is a natural feeling that will creep into you because you went through that experience. You have to disconnect yourself from that and say, no, there's more to this. What is the outcome I'm looking for? I want to get my life back. I want to have a relationship with my son. A wife that will basically say, there's no need for me to continue that relationship. Honestly, there's no need for that, okay? Unless there are things I can't see in this story, there's no need to try to continue to perpetuate continuing that relationship. And you don't need that in order to parent your child. It will be ideal, but it's not safe for anybody to be in a position where somebody feels like they are being threatened. They might end up hurting you. Don't you love yourself? Right? I refused to pay for a new car, and she started calling me names. What kind of husband am I? And the sorts. She has a job in my driveway. Therefore, these are all good stuff. These are all the truth. That were good stuff that he was saying, but they were mixed in with, you have to pick those and say, Brother Ali, what happened to the marriage? What's going on with the marriage? What do you expect out of your children if there's division between you and your wife or your ex-wife? The same principles if you're divorced. What do you expect? The children will take advantage of that, especially in those teenage phases. They're discovering that, I could be an adult. They're discovering that. So if they see any out, and especially if you don't know how to attach value to the principles you're trying to instill in them, it's going to work against you. Do it just because I said do it. Just because I said that's my parenting style. No, what's the value in it? This child ever said anything about college? They want to go to college? What about scholarships? Have they been talking about scholarships? Right? Do they have a big smile on their face when they have good grades? Or it doesn't matter to them? Or they're having terrible grades? Which one? Wherever you are, you need to acknowledge it and learn how to draw a line from point A to the point B and identify the point B. Make sure the baby can correlate, comprehend some value with respect to point B. If they can't, you are in Oyo. I'm trying to simplify it. It's not simple. Anything I say is easier said than done, especially if there have been damages already. But it's doable. It's doable. It's going to take all types of humility. You have to humble yourself. You have to feel blessed already. Like I have a child. That's a blessing already in itself. I have a duty and a responsibility to parenting. That's another level of blessing. You do not have a right. It's a privilege to have that child. It's a mindset thing. Don't argue with your own destiny. It's a mindset thing. That's just something you tell yourself so you can create better results. It's not that deep. But all I know you're wrong is right. Okay. If that's working for you, keep doing it. There's no argument at all. If whatever you're doing is working for you, you keep doing it. If it's not working, if you're confused, maybe it's time to learn something new. Okay? Let me tell you something. I'm just gonna read some comments here. I'll leave it alone. I think we've covered more than enough base here. Okay. If we haven't, I'll bring it back up again. The fact that he came back to be defensive on the stream and to shalaye, right? I do shalaye, but I get paid to do shalaye, right? So I'm sorry, But when it comes to romantic, emotional issues, shalaye often doesn't work. Okay, I mean mansplaining, over-explaining yourself, it doesn't work because there's a reason why you're feeling the need to over-explain yourself. You're already losing it, emotionally speaking. Okay, you're losing it, and it's probably showing in your mannerisms, and it's going to continue to work against you. The fact that he needed to come tells me that he does a lot of that in his personal life. One thing my mother told me this when I was going through my own crisis. She said, Ola, masoroji. Ola, masoro. Oh my God, I value that thing. Jesus, that advice is one of the best advice I've ever gotten. Because when you're going through this stuff, you feel the urge to explain. You just get defensive when somebody says something that antagonizes with what you're trying to explain. You have this need to be right, and it actually works against you. So I'm forced to say, is this what he's doing in his relationships? Does he do this with this boy, with this young man, right? I told you a story here before where I had to go to my neighbors to help him, where the boy had his father in a headlock like this. These things happen. Okay. These things do happen, you know. So let's do this. Let me read some of your chats, because I know you guys have been talking. Okay, I think I got enough chats here that I can review. Shout out to everyone that's still watching. Oh no, I'm on the wrong page. Let me see. I was still looking in StreamYard. Shout out to all 98 of you watching. Hopefully, if you're getting, I got 65 likes so far. Shout out to all of you. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get that to 75. If I've said anything that made sense to you or that made you think twice, because you shouldn't be agreeing 100% with what I'm saying. You should be able to process it first, right? Please hit that like button, because we would like to help more people continue this type of conversations. Okay. Chinye says, let me go back a little bit up. Okay. All right, there you go. Okay, I think I found where we were. Okay. Julian Lifestyle. Shout out to Julian Lifestyle. This is sad that I can't show this on the screen. Jesus Christ. StreamYard. Now for my handle. Hey. Julian. Julian Lifestyle said, the home is without peace. Best to leave that place before you go to prison. Yes, I agree. Eunice says, to be fair, he sounded very heated and aggressive even on Antivi's show. Yes, and he doesn't realize it. It's just the way he talks. And it takes self-awareness. There was also additional argument about Nigerians being aggressive. I said, Nigerians are aggressive. That is what it is. You know, I've felt that way about us Nigerians, but I've also been called aggressive because I'm a Nigerian, because we have a way in our diction that other people may interpret as being aggressive. It is what it is. It's about the self-awareness. Just know that so you can use that in your own favor. When you start to argue against it, how can you use it in your own favor? Could it work? So, your tone and demeanor matters. He was loud while raising his voice. I emphasize with him, but he needs a great criminal rep. Yeah, because you empathize with him. Me too. He needs a great criminal rep, because again, once you have all this stuff against you, you might end up in jail. You know, because again, it's about safety, safe environment for the rest of the society. You know, it's sad that some people will even end up in that system because of it's too many things against them, too many evidences or proof, or the right lawyer against them. You need to understand it as part of societal power dynamics, and don't argue with your destiny. Just learn how to mitigate and work around it. Okay. And if your calling is to help create better systems and better laws, you still need to be emotionally centered to do that. Don't you think so? Because if you're not emotionally centered, they will use it against you too, right? You'll say, this one don't know what he's talking about, right? Ola Olatunji said that boy was overindulged. Yeah, children just don't wake up and start going till 5 a.m. in the morning. Sounds like you have too big of a house, and they're on the other end of the house, and you don't know what's going on with them for a long time. That's what it sounds like. See, every time you point fingers, there's always four fingers pointing back at you. Before we catch you in this internet streets, which is for your own good, catch yourself. Self-awareness. Don't wait. Uni says, let me see. Okay, that was Uni. Okay, Uni says he should have moved out of the house long time ago to protect himself. Yeah. Sometimes we just don't know until we hit rock bottom, right? Emotional intelligence. What the hell is he still doing in that house? Yeah. He's in that house particularly because of the same reasons why he's in this quarter. He was busy trying to be right. Okay? He was busy trying to be right. And if you're overly obsessed with trying to be right,
you're right.
If you're overly obsessed with trying to be right,
You will end up in McDonald's.
not just that,
You know you can be prosecuted for that.
is it fair? No, you're right, it's not fair. But again, if the society at large, the evidences, the forces, so many forces, you're just one human among 8 billion people. If it's against you, you go collect. Still way around it. I'm just letting you know. So, and lack of self-awareness about this, or lack of awareness about this is just how the world operates. It actually, it just gets worse. It just gets worse. Okay. All right. Let's see. Isabel says, okay, I already read Isabel. Eunice says, from the information they provided, that child didn't receive training from the word go. The parents were never on the same page. That's a prerequisite. I don't care if this is your ex. If you don't know how to do it, you need to engage coaching, counseling, okay, on how you're going to get on the same page with that co-parent. Because if you don't, nothing you say, it doesn't matter how perfect, how you were raised, in the poto instantly. Okay? Because the child is a whole human being, a whole spirit that will attack all of us if you don't get this right. Because you can comprehend, you can see these ones are not even, they don't even know how to agree. It's subconscious. It's not saying that all intentionally. It's subconscious. It's like, oh, okay, let's beat him up, you know. Is it right? No. But again, remember, you don't want to be obsessed with being right, because you're probably right already. You need to figure out, this is a game. What is it that you're looking to achieve? Learn how to move the cards you dealt around to achieve what you're looking for. Okay? You've created some damages right now, not by yourself, with your wife, because she should be knowing this too, but you're the one talking. We always engage the person that's talking. With the power that they have, we shed light on the power that they have. Okay? It's not absolute, there's no guarantee, but if they were not even aware that they had power in the first place, imagine how worse it's been, right? Gorex says, yes, his emotions was playing, and I just feel he needed a listening ear while he was on the show and wanted backup. Yes, I agree. That's what he wanted. Ola, please, you need to advise him, or no, hopefully if you like him and you want to send this video for him, send it to him. But this person is anonymous, please don't mention his name. Because I'm not sure if it's not somebody backing him, like you said, I'm not sure if it's in that place where he's able to receive it. And I'm not in this business for free either, you know. Also, particularly because when people don't pay, they don't pay attention. Okay, so before he makes a terrible mistake, I pray for him. I'll just pray for him, right, like a brother. Ola is extremely frustrated and angry with his spouse and the judicial system. Shout out to you, Esther HM. She said that man is hurt. He needs to calm down, forgive, and continue to make his own progress, and see how far the son and the mom fix this mess within themselves. That mama go take soon from son. He was fighting. Gora says he was fighting everything around him. Okay, let me see if I can do this. I think I might have found a way around this. Hey, nǹkan tí ò bá ti lẹ́nu kò kí ń gbọ́n jù yàn lọ, right? I think I might have found a way around this. All right. Yeah, so we can be engaged here. Let me see. Let me pull this to the next window. All right. I found a way, I think. Okay. All right. So he was fighting everything around him, e.g., the government system and his family with relationship. It was fighting environmental factors. It was fighting the weather, the snow, right? It was fighting all those things that are going to happen anyway, right? That's not good. Okay? What you need to learn is how to move around those things, you know? All right. Olalatunji says, but the wife have lied a lot on him to ensure that she gets his investment that are in his name or share. It's too late to say sorry. They will end up they will end up in McDonald's.
You will end up in McDonald's.
May God forgive all of them. Olalatunji said that, right? See, when the police arrived, his tone and manner of response are being counted. Yeah, that was too much for me to be switching between windows. Let's just do it the way I was doing it before. I can't be wiser than myself here. Let's just do it the way we'll be doing it. By the way, as you're here, let me just put this on the screen while you're doing that. Hit the like button, okay? And don't forget to go get your free gift now or before or after, whenever, you know. But let me go back to the comments. Okay, there you go. He was fighting everything around him, e.g. the government, we talked about that. But the wife, okay, we talked about that. See, when the police, we talk about that. That doesn't help his case because the system is larger than him. Yes, it doesn't. The system is no perfect anywhere in the world. If you're going through a personal issue and your focus is the faults with the system, you know what time it is. You will drown. You're swimming against the trend. Will it work? Right? You need to, if you assume that no system is perfect, then you learn the game. See, he claimed that he's smart and he's read the books, and then suddenly he doesn't need a lawyer. That tells me that you're not smart, sir. Actually, you might be smart, but definitely no wisdom in that application. Okay? You need the lawyers because when it's not just because the lawyers are smart. It's because when the judge see that you have representation, there's certain level of respect for your case that goes like this. It's leverage, just like that. Just for knowing that, hey, this is not just about what I know. It's not about what you know. It's never been. There's no word that it's ever been about what you know. It's about who you know. They didn't tell you that. You thought I was only in Nigeria. Did you think that was only in Nigeria? Oh, let me. I just noticed, bro. Patrick, my thing no feed. I'm so sorry. I don't know if this. Okay, I will drop this into. Let me see if this helps. I know you asked for the link a while back. I'm not sure if this will post. And maybe posting can actually get the feed flowing again. I'm not sure. Let me see here. Let's see. Did that post? Oh, that link post. I just posted the bro Patrick, just so you know. Hopefully that works because StreamYard is acting up. Let's see. Let's go back to where I was. Thank God that I covered this story because. Oh, okay, it worked. I see somebody just popped into the studio. Let me see. Okay. Brother Patrick.
Hey, hola.
How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Good to see you. I just noticed your comment because this thing know they feed inside this place for some weird reason.
No.
Yeah. How's everything? What do you think about this case? Were you on that show? Don't mention his name, but were you on the show?
Yes, I watch it later.
Or you watch it later? Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't on the I wasn't on the show. But yeah, it's a big case. Let me just put it that way. It's a big case.
Mm.
And I know people that have experienced that. And we can't just be passing judgment because unless you are in that shoes, that you have raised boys, I tell you, it's by the grace of God to raise these kids, especially boys. I'm going to give you one example real quick. I have a friend as a pastor, he has a PhD. The wife too has a PhD. These are good people.
Right.
You have a son that is very smart too. And you want to get to that teenage age, they want to be, being influenced in school,
Right.
And this boy was uncontrollable. So, but some women tend to take sides with these kids.
With the children.
Motherly
Yes.
instinct. So this my friend he's a pastor. He took him to another pastor. This my friend's in Nigeria. Took him to another pastor that's African American. That one was not saying, don't allow you have to be there. Please don't give this boy. Don't leave him. Don't just let it go like that. Be strong, go. The pastor too had a son too. He has a son. I mean, the African American pastor.
Right.
Just like the same age with this guy. So he was giving an example of his son, what he was doing. To cut the long story short, the African American pastor, this is a pastor that is pastor about, let's say, 2,000 congregations. So the son is in prison now, Ola.
Okay.
His son is in prison now. In fact, I met him in the library one day. So he just greet me and say, Pastor Pat, he greeted me. So, and how are you doing? He said, thank God that you're even in the library. So when I now told his dad, he said, I should have gone there and see what he was doing. They might be doing something else. And I said, why should I go there? He was not telling me what he was going through. But unfortunately, this guy has gone to jail several times, but right now he's in prison.
Wait. Who has gone to jail several times?
The boy for shoplifting.
Okay, so this boy has a pattern of going to jail.
Yes.
Okay, so Brother Patrick, these are the issues that and I'm glad you came up. Thank you so much for coming up because I need when I'm shooting in one direction, right? There's only so much I can cover all bases. But you are able to stop me, right? Or another person is able to stop me. This is why this is just a terrible idea today. This is why I love engaging the comments, right? And so I can slow down and explain some other things break them down into further details, right? Life itself, would you agree with this, that life itself, that is the grace of God?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if I say because life itself is the grace of God, right? I should now say, I can drive anyhow on the street anyhow. I can live my life anyhow, right? After all, it's the grace of God, who is perfect anyway. What would you say to me in that case?
I would say you're a fool now.
That I'm being foolish, right?
Yeah.
So when we're talking about relationships, marriage, parenting, we tend to say that it's grace of God when we're talking, because I can understand the need for empathy on certain topics. A lot of these topics, all of them need empathy. As a matter of fact, if I was engaged with a person directly and I don't first of all acknowledge where they're coming from, empathize with them, they're not going to listen to me because of the same thing we're talking about, emotions, right? I need to make sure they feel safe first so that they can receive what I might have for them. right? And also, what I might have for them, there's no guarantees with it. But if they don't even know that what I might have for them exists in the first place, right? And the results they are creating is not favorable, I think that would be an opportunity that, oh, maybe there's something I'm missing, including myself. You know what I'm saying? That's for any human being, right? So I hear you, but then when you were telling me the story, you said this boy has a pattern of going to prison. What else happened there? Where did they drop the ball? Or we should just give up and say it's the grace of God for anybody who got it right?
No, let me give you one let to that. Like we Nigerians, we like pushing our kids to go to college.
Yes, we
But
do.
when this guy, as soon as he turned 18, he graduated from high school, he just started working, they gave him a room, he got an apartment, they could sign for him. I was like, no. But that's been the way they raise their kids.
That's how they raise their kids.
So the man was even saying that he's glad that this boy is becoming the man that is. I was thinking maybe we'll have started at least community college. But the dad has a master's and all those things. The mom too has a master's. So one day I just saw him at the bus stop, like, what are you doing at the bus stop with some boys? He didn't say anything, but before I knew it, the father said he got caught shoplifting.
Yeah.
So that continued. They've won. He has been to jail like 2-3 times, but now he's in prison. So, one just needs wisdom sometimes.
Yeah.
As you grow, I have a son that is very smart, very smart. But this boy, I've said that, but this boy, it was in a school. More than all the white boys they follow him. Even the teacher called me and said, this is your son. He said, Patrick, I've never said this before. I've been teaching for 35 years. He said, this is the smartest boy I've ever met. He challenged me with maths. This is a woman. He said, but when they said there's a fire somewhere,
right,
it's the boy that started it. So when the boy wanted to enter high school, what we thought, me and my wife, he said, what are we going to do? This is in middle school. What are we going to do? I just said, and he wanted to go on to one big school. We said he wasn't going there. He said, no. This boy said, no. I said, no, you're not going there. I mean, very big school. And this school is mixed.
Why didn't you want him to go there?
Yes. Number one is a public school, and it's a big school. It's going to mix with a lot of people. We just decided we would prefer one small school. And that was what we did. And really helped him. And this school I'm talking about, the class of people is there, that are there, we are talking about the bourgeois. You understand? And what they use in that school is not money. They admit students based on merit. And my son was admitted there based on merit. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be, yes. So it was dead. People was mixing it. And when it was in, I'm sorry, I'm left to use this example. To use this example, when it was in middle elementary school, all his friends, 91% of them are from single parent home. And something happened one day.
We know that, yeah.
One thing happened to my son. He was younger then. Now I said, I love this. I like this. One of his. I said, why do you like it? He said, because he received 2 gifts during his birthday. I said, what do you mean? He said he get from his mom, his dad, and his granddad. 3 gifts from his granddad. He said, I want that kind of, I said, I was not saying, well, this kid doesn't understand. So, but the difference now is the people he's mixing with now are all 2 parents. married couples. So like we'll meet them, we'll go to meeting together. Some of them will bring to their house. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And these are small groups compared to that big school where you have a lot of mixture of black, Hispanic, and everything. And they do pie there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, so God just directed us. And the funniest thing, my last baby went to that big school, and that one she's a girl. She doesn't make trouble. We've never had any complaint from nobody. But our life, my son has gone there. It would have been a different case. Let me just wait. God just give us that wisdom. God just gave us that wisdom. Like the boy that the guy was saying, his son was writing to the vice principal, calling her names and all those things. So, and like I said, one thing that people look in America, if you are moving to an area, you look at the school districts. It goes along. You don't look at money.
Yeah.
If you want to move to this place, houses are cheap there, apartments are cheap there. No, especially when you have kids.
Yeah, you're gonna end up in a school district.
Yes, you have to look at it. That's a priority for those with kids. Look at the school districts. There are some school districts. But if you want to transfer, you call the school. By the time they hear your accent, they will not respond to you. I'm serious. They will not respond to your call. Usually, most of the school, when you call them, you are going to drop a message, a voice message.
Yeah.
As soon as they hear your accent, they are not going to answer your call. They are not going to respond. We are in this country. We know them. You know what I mean? So those are the things we look at. So it really helped us.
Yeah.
Let me take this my son from here. I'm going to put in a better school where we mix with good people. We've raised kids here now, so we know.
Yeah. Okay. So when you listen to that guy's story, what stood out the most for you?
Let me say, like the guy, it's right now he doesn't get himself because he's going through it. And he's acting based on what he was saying is based on emotion. He's been out for 9 months. He's paying the bills. You understand?
Yeah.
It's like he's even like right now. It's like he's in a gallows. Like when his first response was that, well, you cannot blame. Like the story we were talking before,
which we can't blame those people because.
So
we don't know what they went through on their last minutes, their last seconds. We don't know.
Yes.
We can't judge. We can't. Some people will say, "Oh, this person is brave." Some people will say, "That's disrespectful."
And the guy said, even before he could be going to court proceedings, he need therapy.
Yes.
Before if you should go there with
even lawyers advise people. I get clients like that all the time that their lawyers will refer them and say, go and talk to someone, because they can tell in the way they are conducting themselves that they will use their own mouth to lose the case, even with representation. They'll say, go and pay for a counselor, talk to a counselor first.
Because if he goes to court with that attitude, he might get himself into more problem. Yes.
And they tell you to take a stand. How are you not going to tell them that it's Canadian system? That it's just evil. Even if you don't say those exact words, they can feel it in your energy.
Yes. He's saying I. A lot of I. In his statement, I work for the government. I've been here for a while.
I'm very smart.
So you should take time and learn. Go to people that have gone through that before, that walk that road. People that have walked that road, you should learn from them. How do they navigate that road?
Say all the lawyers are the same. So I feel for him.
Yes, I really feel for him too.
for him, but that can only help. It will help in short term. He will feel better by himself.
And the ball is in the court of the government, and it's the son that really feel for, because the guy, he doesn't know what he's doing. By the time he grew up, I have a boy too now. My son does that to play game. Yes, they lock themselves in.
Yeah, they play game. My son will sometimes supposed to go to bed at. They're supposed to be in bed at night. Period. Sometimes if he gets caught beyond even 5 minutes after that, his game is taken away for 2 weeks. Right. So, if your game is, we agreed to the rules in the first place. We both agreed to it. You know what I'm saying? So, and things just as simple as that. If you understand that mindset, the risk reward system, understanding that there are consequences, right, in life. You use a lot less energy, but they speak volume. But if the baby, let's say your own son doesn't care about games, you can't use that. You need to know what your own son cares about. This is where people say this is not easy. Like, no, it's not easy. That's the whole point. You need to get to know your child and know what they care about, so that they will get more of it if they are behaving properly, or they'll get less of it if they misbehave. With explanations if they need it, doing less work, let them explain what just happened. Let them say it to you, right? It works better than you just shooting blanks and just preaching at them all the time.
And the mother, the both parents supposed to agree on how to train the kid, instead of the mother taking side of the son.
Right. So this is the tricky part about that, sir. And I'm going to ask you a question around this. If you're in this type of situation, let's use the same exact scenario, right? The boy didn't clean their room, and you say, "I did. Why didn't you clean your room? What happened? You're supposed to clean your room already by this time. What happened?" And the mother say, and he's talking back, like random, complete talking back at you, and you're like, "Who are you talking to?" And then the mother say he has the right to talk back. How would you respond to that, sir? If you mistakenly, for some, I don't think you find yourself in that situation, but let's just say you find yourself in that situation. How would you respond to that?
I would de-escalate the situation. You know what I mean? Because if I want to act, it's going to blow up.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, because it has gone beyond what you can really imagine, that your son is talking back and the mother is taking side.
The mother is taking sides.
Yes, you have to kind of discard. There must be underground problem.
Yes.
For
exactly.
Yes.
And as much as you might be confused in that moment, you didn't see where it's coming from. At least you know enough that, okay, something just happened. Where did that come from?
I just back out.
It's just, I don't understand what it happened. Because if you engage it, you might end up in jail that night. Is that unfair? Is that fair? Whatever you think it is, you're right. But this is how these things work. If you don't know how to de-escalate matters, for me, sir, right? I believe that the nurturing thing that mothers bring to the table, sometimes that can conflict with our stoic ways of wanting to. You don't even have to go to Yankee to marry wife. You can marry wife in the kitty, and this can happen, right? And then because like, my baby show mommy, right? Number one, we know that you're not on the same page with your spouse when it comes to parenting. We know that already now, effectively, by what is playing out, right? So now let's say that you try to talk to your wife, and your wife seems to continue this behavior. This is a lot of people go through this. This is a very tough thing to go through, or she says something like, why you always scold me in front of my child? Do you have to scold me in front of my child? Right? And she's doing that in front of the child. This is why we call it crisis. It's I don't say crisis for crisis sake. It's because it's a confusing situation. It's because in that moment it's very confusing. Like you're even you yourself, you're a human being, you'll be upset. Like how can you be scolding me to not check you in front of your child, but you're doing it in front of your child? Does two wrongs make a right? These are the thoughts that will be going through your head. So you're now put in a position as a man to take the higher road. Why? Why should I take the higher road all the time? Because there are greater purpose. Your child is involved in this. Your parenting, the outcome of your children when they become adults is attached to this. You have to humble yourself beyond just what's going on, playing out. Yes, your wife was disrespectful to you in that moment, and you're still not going to be able to address it properly by being aggressive back. It's not going to work.
Even let me, even the chore of the house, I do more. When I come into my house and what the kids are supposed to do, they didn't do it, I won't even just call them. I will do everything. By the time they just open their mouth and say, what?
Mm-hmm.
I won't go to their room and do anything in their room. I've never done that. About my own room, everywhere, living room, I'm going to take good care of it.
Yeah.
Yes. By the time you go, when you don't do it, when I'm teaching you, you don't want to do it, I'll be praying for you. You go to college, you will graduate. It's going to be you and your wife.
Mm-hmm.
Deal with it. Let me quickly give you this example. I met a lady, an elderly lady with the husband, who met in one place.
Mm-hmm.
So at an occasion, they were not telling me, the African American, one of their sons in his 40s was homeless.
Mm-hmm.
So it was cold, very cold. They now brought him in to come to their house. And you know what they said? They gave him 1 week. Hola, they said, well, we are sorry. We are just going to ask you for just 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want you to be comfortable. After 1 week, they kick him out again. Hola, this man got himself back. He has bought a house. He has a company. He's doing fine now. He said people were telling them that, wow, you have a whole house. Look at your son. And that was their only son. That's their only son. They just gave him 1 week. And after 1 week, they kick him out. Our life is an Africa, we, our people. The sound might be there forever again. That really taught me sense. Okay, these people, it makes sense. After 1 week, they kick him out.
Yeah. It's not that difficult, but it's difficult. Anything we say here, sir, it's easier said than done. And no matter how many times I made that clear, but there are principles that guides parenting. And for as many times that you think there is no principle that guides parenting, you will continue to create bad parenting. Because you already said there's no principles. There's a reason why, not you, I'm telling anybody that's listening to me, anybody that says there's no principles, it's just, it's just grace. It's like, yeah, we know it's grace. This whole thing is grace. But we're now saying that you have a responsibility, you have a duty.
Yes.
And if you now tell yourself this story that it is not easy, I know it's not easy. I just said that, but that story is telling you there's olonyu, like there's more to it. You're trying to tell me that there's no need for you to engage parenting. Just do your best. No, your best may not be good enough with that mindset.
Let me make you laugh, Ola.
Yes, sir.
My son, nobody taught me how to play drum in church. He just jumped there and playing.
Picks it up.
Yes, I just entered his car one day. Look at the music he's listening to. All this rap. Oh my God.
Of course.
I just said, well, what do I expect you to do? You understand? I was just laughing. I can't say, no, you must listen to Christian. No, I just say, well.
You've done your best. You've given them what do you call it? You've given them the
Maybe you know one of the music.
Which one?
Idu Baby.
No, I don't listen to American music anymore. I haven't listened to American music in a long time.
Some people will know.
I know Little Baby. I know that artist name. I don't even know what it looks like, but I know that artist name.
I say, oh my God! I saw that that's Little Baby. I said, well,
how old is your son, sir?
Yeah, it's gonna be 18 then.
Yeah. They are listening to Little Baby. That's what they are listening to right now. The oldest they're probably listening to right now is Future. Yeah. So I mean, we just have to. So we give them some basic principles, basic core things that they can use to survive in life, right? And we should also have expectation that they will make their own decisions.
Yeah, that's
But this story of this guy is an extreme. No,
yeah.
I don't have expectation that my son will talk back at me. If he talks back at me, there are consequences for that. Those consequences have been previously discussed, and they already know it. And if they didn't, that means the more patience I have to practice in handling that.
Yeah.
There's a big crisis in my hand, and I've overlooked a lot of things. This is coming as a shocker. This is going to be a process, but I must be patient on how I handle this.
Yeah.
And especially if her mother is taking her side, even more patience is going to be required. Does that sound hard? Welcome to the real world. You need patience, okay?
Yeah, when it's becoming too tense, just pick up your shirts, walk out. You know what I mean? If it involves going to sleep somewhere instead of sleeping in a place for 9 months.
Yes.
Why don't you do that at that particular time?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So that I don't know if you have one last word so we can round up.
No, there's such thing happen like a flash. Boom. You know what I mean? It has blown up.
Yes, that's what anger does. That's what anger, especially if you never had guiding principles for your relationships. Your children are your relationships. Did you know that?
Yeah. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. You're welcome anytime, sir. If you know there's any day you want to come up, message me in the group ahead of the time that day. Then I will drop the link a lot more earlier. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Yes, sir. All right, sir.
Greetings, Lola.
All right, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So this thing, somebody said it. Okay, so Facebook is sending me feed. Intervene, Lord, in my situation. Peace, Kids Entertainment. Amen. I pray for you. Yeah. Somebody's on Facebook, I guess, but we don't have a lot of audience on Facebook. But YouTube stream is not streaming in my thingy here. But shout out to everyone that's here. Shout out to Bumi. Thank you for the smoke, Bumi. I love a little smoke. she knew I'd be asking for smoke, I guess. D-Love, shout out to you. Go Rex, everyone. Yeah, I was pulling it manually while I was listening to Brother Patrick. Model, shout out to you. Yes, making them accountable at a young age. Yes. Gore's Corner is going to sleep. I see that. Tough situation for a man to be in. Yes. Everything we said is easier said than done, but it's after the battle won when you are aware, right? It was to the discrimination by accent. What are we talking about? After I go off, I tell them that I don't like to yell, but they push me after. You have to check these kids. Sometimes you have to check them. They need to know that mama don't play. Ladies, you will find yourself in a situation where you are disagreeing on parenting with your husband. I want you to understand that it's a very difficult situation for him. He's trying to make you happy at the same time trying to instill whatever he's trying to instill in the child. He will need your help. Nothing good comes out of being on different pages in terms of parenting your kids. If he's too aggressive, say, hey babe, let me talk to you in the bedroom. Let's agree on how we want to do this, okay? Because I don't want us to create terrible human beings for our society. It's not evil people only that create terrible human beings for society. Sometimes because you don't know any better. Please don't tell yourself the story that I agree that it's grace of God, but please don't use that to disengage yourself from what you need to do, your duty and your responsibility. Don't do that. We have to be careful with these talking points. Okay? Check yourself when you're repeating talking points. What is this talking point doing to my mindset? Am I paying attention? Because the devil will use your blind spot against you all the time. For the boy to raise his voice and hands him, I hope he wasn't playing back to what his mom, he was doing exactly that. But it could be, but it's not necessarily intentional. Absolutely, they will test you. Yes. All right, so let me leave it at that for now. Let me round up. I thought I was going to do 2 hours. By the time that I started this story, let me see how many people are still on. Shout out to all 80 of you. You guys are awesome. Hit that like button. I'm missing 7 likes. You can make it 100%. Thank you so much. All right. We'll be back here tomorrow. We'll continue the conversations. Okay. This is something you have to remain a student of. Emotional intelligence, particularly. Okay. It's not as simple as what you can see. Common sense is a terrible guide to relationships and life. Common sense will end you up in the mud, all the time. Okay? Why? Why is Ola coming up with his own talking point? Because we all have common sense. Are you going to argue with me I don't have common sense? I can't argue with you that you have common sense. But clearly we need more. There's more that we need to learn about this, and it has to be an ongoing thing. Okay? We need to talk about relationships from a power standpoint. If you're obsessed with fairness, you might end up in poto. You will end up collecting woto. Okay?
Continue.
Okay, ma. Right? You will end up collecting woto. Because when you're competing with your partner, a house divided against itself cannot stand. Right? Even when it's subconscious, even when you don't mean to. So you have to be self-aware that hold on 1 second. You have to be self-aware that your personality plays a big part in this. The way you were raised. You are abinibi okinshabili. Nice, right? You know, the way you were raised, this social construct, a lot of those things you believe in, your belief system, is helping you shoot yourself on the leg sometimes. And you don't mean any harm. You're not trying to be evil. This is just how much you understand. You're just trying to do the right thing. You're trying to raise your kids, but you don't want your husband to be aggressive with your son. But you don't want your son to get spoiled. Gentlemen, you need lots of patience. If you notice that there's a disengagement, there's a division between you and your wife, the first step is to leave the boy alone, engage your wife and say, babe, let me talk to you in the bedroom. That's the only lesson you should take away from here today. If you didn't take away anything today, that's all you need today. All right? And without any further ado, see now the comment is coming on the other side, so I have to look at it first. Boomy, stop it. Boomy, stop it. Stop it, Boomy. Right? Right? So let's be guided. Let's be guided. Let's keep coming back. Hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
It's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Me love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.